And right now, they put their best sellers on sale in both fabric and leather. Featured is a 3-piece sectional in fabric for $32.99, or the same model in genuine leather for $33.99. And yes, there are 2 recliners in the sectional. Chesler's has a beautiful reclining sofa in brown for $7.99 and the matching love seat for $7.49. In the Lazy Boy department, select the Morrison model, available in 5 colors for $12.99 and matching love seat for $12.49. If you need a recliner, there are models to match each group. So breathe some excitement back into your family room with Chesler's Fine Furniture's best sellers. Credit terms and delivery are available. Chesler's Fine Furniture, Route 51 in Uniontown, where customers send their friends.
The local station, WMES, and it's the Afternoon Drive program with Doug Saltzman on the way. You'll be here any minute. If you are watching the live streaming, well, you're seeing an empty chair. Kind of like when Clint Eastwood spoke at the convention how many years ago. Anyway, Doug will be in here. I may have said this in one of the other shows, but I finally broke down and got a front door, doorbell camera, because, well, packages have been disappearing in my neighborhood, and not that it will ever help me catch somebody, but at least I'll know what happened. The problem is that every time a bird flies by the camera, my phone blows up. So I'm just sitting here listening to the phone. Going, and there we go, right there. Yes, yeah. Don't you love when people silence their phone, which means they put it on vibrate, and then you put it on the table right next to the microphone, and it sounds like a buzzer from a game show in the back in the 50s. Doug will be in momentarily. We had big news in the world of sports. The trades have started. Adam Frazier is no longer a Pirate. That's not the first time we've said that. But Adam Frazier is going to be a Kansas City Royal again, just like he was going to be a Pirate again. And now he is going to be joining the Royals. The Pirates get, you'll never guess this, a prospect.
A prospect.
A prospect.
By the way, Bill, thank you very much. Long drive to get here every day, hour and a half to come down. So glad to be here.
It's worth it, though.
So I appreciate that. And I try not to break any of the traffic laws getting here. But
no. Yeah, you try not to get caught.
Caught, right, breaking any of the traffic laws. Good thinking. A friend of mine, we were texting about this earlier. We have a group of our old high school buddies who constantly text about just about anything, including Pirate baseball. Yeah. And one of them described it as rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It was looking so good just about a week and a half ago. They won 6 in a row. They shut out of course, the Cards in 3 games. That's only happened. That was the 3rd time in Pirate history. And then, of course, they got swept and shut out in the next series. First time ever in baseball history that happened.
And again.
Yeah, kind of gloomy to say the least. Paul Skeens last night looked good.
Did he?
3 up, 3 down.
Yeah,
and 2 strikeouts.
100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
however, did you watch it all the way to the end?
I did. What was it? The home run swing off?
Yeah, it was the swing off to this guy because it can't end in a tie.
No, they can't end the tie. And of course, it happened. Remember, several years ago it happened. They ran out of pitchers. And of course, the commissioner had to get up and say, "Hey, that's it." People booed, and then they came up with that ridiculous thing that the outcome of the All-Star game would determine who had home field advantage in the World Series, which didn't make a lot of sense, and they stopped that. But let's hope that this idea of a swing off does not determine and get rid of extra innings, because right now the only thing dumber than putting somebody on second base in extra innings would be a home run swing off.
I'm sure they're saying to themselves, "Hey, it works in the NHL."
Oh yeah, right. Well, there's a lot more tie games in the NHL back in the day than there are in baseball.
What's wrong with ties?
Right. There's nothing wrong with a tie.
Yeah, I mean, they still have ties in the NFL. You have to play an extra hour and a half to get there, but, they still have ties.
That's right. And my daughters get me one for every Father's Day. So what's
exactly.
wrong with a tie?
There can never be too many ties.
That's right. Exactly.
Because you always wear them, as we can see on the air here.
Exactly. Hey, coming up here in just a couple moments, we kind of switch things around. Jeff McCausland, who was originally going to be with us, but now Jeff is going to be, take a look at the 620 one there, Bill, if you would. There's been a switcheroo as to who's going to be our first guest. Jeff McCausland's going to join us. Colonel Jeff McCausland, of course, CBS News military and national security
analyst. Have you ever considered
analyst.
Printing?
Take a. Can you read my chicken scratch there? Look for the 6:20 hour. There we go.
Yeah, Colonel
and
Jeff McCausland.
We're going to check in with him.
Little effort to get him.
But in the process, maybe shut off your mic over there before.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad idea.
We hear the dialing going on. Somebody could listen very closely to the beep tones and suddenly get Colonel Jeff McCausland's private phone number, and of course we wouldn't want that to happen. Again, we had a switcheroo at the last minute here. Linda Kenyon was originally going to join us, but now Jeff McCausland, the Colonel, is going to join us here, talking about the latest out of what's happening between Ukraine and Russia. We will be talking in the 6 o'clock hour with Linda Kenyon, of course. She traveled with the president yesterday when the president came into Pittsburgh for the inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit, a lot of it dealing, of course, with artificial intelligence. That was at Carnegie Mellon University, hosted by U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, and, of course, attended by a lot of bigwigs. We had yesterday Dick Jewell on the air, and he told our listeners that he had never seen so many billionaires in one room. So we're going to check in a little bit later with Linda Kenyon, but joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, CBS News military and national security analyst, Colonel Jeff McCausland. Colonel, thank you very much for joining us. The war still rages between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump has indicated if Russia doesn't clean up their act, tariffs may kick in. What are your thoughts on that? Is that unprecedented? I mean, there's been times back they threatened tariffs, or they withdrew oil from Japan before World War II. Before our involvement in World War II, but this idea of tariff use to get someone to stop a war, is that unprecedented?
I don't think it's necessarily unprecedented, Doug. It's one of our, weapons in our quiver. Mr. Trump seems to have a proclivity to want to use the economic weapon. He claims, for example, that it was economic leverage that helped end the conflict between India and Pakistan, though I think they might dispute that. I think what we've seen, however, is a dramatic change in his attitude, at least in terms of his thinking, from arriving in the White House saying he could end the war in a single day. I think he's discovered Mr. Putin is not nearly as interested in ending the war as he is, and that the issue is a lot more complex. The blow-up he had in the Oval Office with President Zelensky seemed to be moving away from supporting Ukraine, now at least offering additional weaponry if it's paid for by the Europeans, and threatening these tariffs. But again, I think it's important to underscore, Doug, even if these tariffs are affected, they won't be enacted for 50 days.
Right. And of course, the president recently, I shouldn't say of course, but the president recently said that he was unaware that weapons were being withheld from Ukraine by his own Defense Department. So that's another, throw that into the loop as well. But where are we in terms of, there's so much going on right now with the Middle East and other issues nationally and internationally. Ukraine and Russia war, believe it or not, may have gone off the front page in some papers. So what is the latest on the update? Is fighting still raging on full tilt, or are they sort of in a lull right now?
No, it's still going on full tilt, but you're right, it has fallen off the front page of the American newspapers as we're now in the fourth year in a conflict that the Russians only thought was going to last a couple of days. But in the Donbass region and up in northeastern Ukraine near Kharkiv and Sumy, we see the Russians conducting offensive military operations. These are usually, though, pretty small unit offensive operations, but relentless every single day, because they found, due to the transparency of the battlefield with drones, that large-scale, heavy mechanized attacks, which they did in the past, would be subjected immediately to drone strikes or artillery fire, and haven't been successful. Furthermore, the Russians have taken tremendous casualties, estimates that they've suffered over 1 million casualties. But it's changed as well into now a very relentless onslaught by the Russians of missiles and drones against Ukrainian cities, literally of hundreds of drones being launched every single night. In the month of June alone, over 5,000 drones and missiles were launched against Ukrainian cities, most of these targeting civilian targets in an effort by the Russians not only to gain ground on the battlefield, but trying to undermine the willpower of the Ukrainian people.
Yeah. When you think about that and the amount of casualties Russia has endured on this, are we talking 500 or a million dead or wounded and dead? What does that number represent?
We're talking 1 million casualties. That'd be dead, wounded, missing, prisoners of war, all those particular categories. But the other day, Secretary of State Rubio estimated that 100,000 Russian soldiers have died just since the beginning of this year. But I think part of the problem for the president is understanding that for Mr. Putin, that's a cost he's willing to pay and a cost he's willing to continue to pay. I think it's a little difficult at times, perhaps, for the president to imagine that any world leader could basically write off 1 million young men from their population and allow them to be killed or injured on the battlefield. But Mr. Putin is clearly, I think, willing to do that, and furthermore believes his willpower is stronger in the West. He can put up with this for a longer period of time, then eventually will be successful.
Russian leaders, and before that Soviet, and before that Russian leaders back then, never seemed to be all that concerned with clever strategy in war. When you think about the amount of casualties in World War II, my gosh, if you're talking about 1 million casualties, that's approaching numbers of Americans who were injured or killed in World War II. 600,000 killed in World War II Americans. Now we're talking about 1 million in this war against Ukraine. Clearly the largest conflict since World War II, without question, correct?
Yeah, without a doubt. For example, right now the Russians have suffered far more casualties in this 3+ year war with Ukraine than the United States suffered in the entirety of World War I.
Yeah, it's amazing numbers when you think about that. At one point, Russia even had to go to North Korea to get armaments and soldiers. I asked you at one point during an interview, now this a couple of years ago, I said, why would Russia admit that they needed North Korea's help? And you said, well, North Korea probably demanded it, saying, hey, you want our help, you got to make it public so the world knows how strong we are, that we actually have to help Russia in a war. And I'm not sure what became of that effort from North Korea. Are they still involved in this effort as an ally of Russia?
Oh, heavily. I mean, there are estimates right now that over half of all the artillery rounds fired by Russia are produced in North Korea, in addition to other weaponry they're receiving from North Korea. A lot of technical parts coming from China that are put into drones and elsewhere. They have set up drone factories in Russia which now recreate the Shahed drone, which they initially purchased from Iran. And even today I learned that the Russians have negotiated with Laos, of all places, to get 50 engineer experts on mine clearing to now fight with the Russian Federation in clearing landmines that have been in place by the Ukrainians.
And it goes on and on and on, considering, as you mentioned earlier, Putin probably expected this to be a less than a few months war, maybe a few days. And now it's in.
Yeah, I mean, they've told there's intel that verifies the Russians told officers to pack their dress uniform from the war began because they'd need them a few days later for the big victory parades that they were going to have in Kyiv. And I doubt any of those guys are still carrying those uniforms around, or frankly, that they're still living. But that's the way they looked at the war to begin with. Obviously, that was very, very false.
Yeah, obviously, a lot of them have been buried in those dress uniforms at this point as a result of this ongoing war. Colonel Jeff McCausland, first and foremost, as always, we thank you for your service to the country, and thanks again for joining us today. We appreciate the update.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you. Hey, we're going to take a break here, folks, and when we come back, we're really going to switch topics here. Sometimes we try to keep the news going in sort of the general direction of the topics of the day. That's why we were going to check in with Linda Kenyon about yesterday's energy summit in Pittsburgh, but they had to switch their schedules around to make that work, and that's fine. And usually if we talk about baseball or sports, we do that at the end of the show, but our next guest was only available at 5:35. That's Jared Diamond. He's a national sports writer and reporter for the Wall Street Journal, and you don't think of them doing sporting reports, but he did a great article not too long ago about Paul Skeens, and of course, an interesting article in the Wall Street Journal about the great, maybe the best pitcher in baseball, now playing for one of the worst teams, of course, our Pittsburgh Pirates. So we're going to talk to him coming up. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Your health is more than just how you feel today. It's about staying well for the years ahead. At WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Primary Care, we're here to help you manage your health with regular checkups, screenings, and care that's tailored to you. With locations in Uniontown, Carmichaels, Connellsville, and Scottdale, it's easy to find care close to home. Visit wvumedicine.org/Uniontown today to find the primary care provider who is right for you.
This is attorney Michael Mays of the Davis & Davis Law Firm. We have been helping injured people just like you recover millions of dollars for over 45 years. If you're hurt or injured, I want to meet you and make sure you get the money that you deserve. Call me at 724-437-2799 for your free consultation. The Davis & Davis Law Firm has been protecting our neighbors in Greene and Fayette counties for over 45 years. Go to davisanddavislaw.com or call 724-437-2799 for your free consultation.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Well, warmer days are ahead, the kind of days when you'll be enjoying your deck or patio again, especially with retractable or fixed awnings from Lifetime Awnings. Made in the USA with manufacturers and customer guarantees, Lifetime Awnings products last. Lifetime Awnings is veteran-owned and operated with a 10% discount to all military veterans and their families. Lifetime Awnings, 724-554-6067. Call for a no-cost or obligation home consultation or email John, the owner, at lifetimeawningsusa@gmail.com.
Bad hair day? Bad day at the office? Bad day behind the wheel? Hey, stuff happens, even to the best of us. At least your car insurance rate doesn't have to take a hit. Get Erie Rate Lock from Erie Insurance. Gives you a great rate that stays put until you change a car, driver, or your address. Plus, seriously good service. Now that's something to smile about.
Your Erie agent in Uniontown and Ross Traver Township is Sprowell's Insurance Group, 724-437-9812, or go to sprowellsinsurance.com.
Erie Rate Lock does not guarantee continued insurance coverage and is not available in all states.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show. Doug Saltzman here, Bill Madden at the controls. We're with you till 8 o'clock tonight, so we have an extended version of the Afternoon Drive Show with you today. I want to thank Colonel Jeff McCausland for joining us a moment ago. Again, we'll be talking to Linda Kenyon coming up about the Energy and Innovation Summit that took place yesterday in Pittsburgh, hosted by U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, and I think half the billionaires in America were there, according to some folks I've spoke to. We're going to check in with Rich Fitzgerald, former Chief Executive of Allegheny County, now Director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. He was at that event yesterday and said he never saw anything like that. So we'll get his take, and that'll be later in the show today. But joining us right now on the WMBS Newsmakers line, a guest we have not had on before. We're very pleased to welcome national sports writer and reporter for the Wall Street Journal, Jared Diamond. Jared, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for finally having me on. What took you so long?
I know, with the nerve of me. Who am I, for heaven's sakes, to track down a reporter from the Wall Street Journal? We appreciate your joining us today. You did a great article last month about Paul Skeens. And sometimes, you get wrapped up in your local sports and think, okay, who would know about a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the lowly Pirates, sadly, who I think have the third, maybe the fourth worst record in baseball. Although nobody's as bad as the Rockies, for heaven's sakes. That's unbelievable. But Paul Skeens has gone beyond that. He is a national story, is he not?
He is one of the premier stories in all of baseball nationally, and has been essentially since the day he came up to the major leagues last year. He was the biggest prospect anyone had ever seen when he was drafted. He is the rare player who has lived up to every ounce of the hype or even exceeded it literally from day one. I mean, who comes up and starts the All-Star game his first 2 years in the big leagues? It's absolutely remarkable, and it's kind of painful to watch the Pirates squander having this guy.
Yeah, he's a very mature guy, and you don't hear him pouting or complaining or that. I mean, I guess you don't get into the Air Force Academy by being immature or not a smart guy. They just don't put you in the Air Force Academy because you're a good pitcher. And of course, he played there for a couple of years and then switched over to Louisiana State University when I think he realized I better get some more attention to my game than you could get at the Air Force Academy. So he is a unique individual, a big guy. It's 6'4", 6'6", I think, anywhere from, you hear 230 pounds to 260. I swear, if the mound is 60 feet 6 inches from home, by the time he lets go of the ball, it's about 50 feet 6 inches, I think, because he really stretches it out and comes from different angles, doesn't he, when he's throwing the ball?
He has like 10 different pitches. I'm exaggerating, but not by much.
Well, I think 9 is what they said last night during the broadcast.
And the thing that's amazing about him is that he doesn't stop iterating, right? Like, he was incredible last year when he came up to the big leagues. He was, in a very short time, established himself as one of the best pitchers in baseball. No one really could hit him. And what did he do this offseason? He went out and learned some more pitches and changed his arsenal, right? Like, the fact that he's continuing to learn, continuing to grow, continuing to iterate, that's the kind of player who really makes it, really has sort of the ultimate kind of success. He didn't need to do that. He didn't need any more weapons. He wanted them. And that's why this year he's even better in many ways than he was last year. He was certainly our must-watch TV. I mean, if you're a baseball fan, and if you have some sort of streaming package, you can watch out-of-market games, even if you're not in Pittsburgh, you're checking hey, when Skeens' next start, I'm going to make sure that I'm locked in that night because, like I said, he's one of the biggest attractions in the entire game for good reason. Yeah. The last two sentences in that article you wrote for the Journal said, until then, Skeens will continue to make history for all the wrong reasons. Since earned run became an official stat in 1913, no qualified starting pitcher with an ERA under 2 finished the season with an individual record below 500. And then you finished off your article with, then again, none of them ever played for the 2025 Pittsburgh Pirates. And I think of my life as a kid. I was born in 1963, so I was between 7 years old and 17 in the 70s when the Pirates won 6 division titles, 2 World Series. It's kind of sad when I think about kids that this era now have never seen that, or at least not for over 10 years now, the last time we made the playoffs. But we have this incredible pitcher, and of course all the talk in Pittsburgh is every time he plays somewhere, it's just a tryout for the Yankees or the Dodgers or maybe the Cubs or who knows. It would be tragic to lose him, but that's what Pittsburgh is expected to see now. You have a great player, he doesn't stay past when he has to. It really is a shame what's happened in Pittsburgh. I'm sure every Pirates fan has been reading over the last week or 10 days about how the Pirates recently became a losing team all time for the first time in their franchise history. They've had an all-time winning record, I think, since 1903. And then a week or two ago, they became an all-time losing team, which really just shows how far the franchise has fallen in recent years, just how much losing that they've done. And look, given the nature of the game, there's really no scenario where Paul Skeens stays in Pittsburgh. It's impossible to fathom that he will. In fact, if you're a Pirates fan now, you're just counting down the days till he's on the trading block. Let's face it.
In 1992, when the Pirates were a game away from being in the World Series, 2 years in a row, of course, they had tremendous teams back then. The Pirates had the third best record of all time in baseball. And now, as you just mentioned, if we're not under 500, we're at 500 right now all time, or one game above. It's somewhere in that area. We had a fascinating 6-game winning streak at one point. We shut out. I act like I'm on the team. The Pirates beat the Cardinals 3 games in a row and shut them out all 3 games, and then. So that was a 6-game winning streak, which is almost unheard of for the Bucks, and then they followed that with an 8-game losing streak, leading in. And then I think they won their last game right before the All-Star break. But to see this guy pitch, and I've had Steve Blass on the air with us, just talking about this phenom, the phenom of phenoms. That term probably is overused, but I guess Skeens' picture should be next to that in the dictionary. Correct?
Unquestionably, he was the best. The best pitching prospect baseball has seen since, the only name in sort of the last X number of decades that really comes to mind is Steven Strasburg, just how big Steven Strasburg was. Skeens was sort of in that territory or even greater. And like I say, he lived up to the hype. The problem, of course, or the thing that, every Pirates fan fears and stays up at night worrying about, is we all know what happened to Steven Strasburg, right? He was incredible, absolutely phenomenal young pitcher who couldn't stay healthy. And we all know how hard Paul Skeens throws and everything else that's going on with that guy. And I think if you've been paying attention to baseball for the last 20 years, you're very justified in being terrified of the day that Paul Skeens' elbow explodes, and you just pray it doesn't happen to him, that he's the one who's able to sort of avoid it, because the game needs him. He is an extraordinary young talent, and he's exactly the kind of player that makes baseball a better game.
Yeah, Strasburg, interesting you mentioned that. His first major league game was in 2010. Hard to believe it's been that long ago. For the Nationals, played against the Pirates. He pitched 7 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, no walks, and struck out 14 batters. And
it went pretty well for him that night.
Oh, my gosh. Setting a new national single-game strikeout record in only 7 innings. And of course, it had to be against the Pirates. And, just amazing what you do. When you think about Skeens, the most pitches he ever threw in a college game was 72 pitches. And, of course, they play 7-inning games in college. And then he came up to the pros, and at one point he threw 92. People were booing when they took him out, but that's the world we live in when it comes to baseball, that you're not going to let a rookie throw over 100 pitches when the most he's ever thrown is 72. I can't blame the Pirate manager for doing that, even though it was frustrating to watch.
Yeah, he's a big boy, though. If anyone could withstand sort of an old-fashioned workload, you would think he's the one. He's like, you're talking about his height and weight. Paul's a big boy. And you could tell he's the kind of pitcher that really aspires to be sort of that Nolan Ryan type, take the ball, go as long as you possibly can. You're right in saying that isn't the game in 2025 in many ways. And everyone understandably is trying to be so protective of this guy's health. All you could really do is hope that the Pirates this is a once in a generation or, less or more, player. This doesn't happen. You don't just sort of stumble upon players like this too often. And if you don't make a run at things and you don't open up your wallet and start acquiring better players and make a run at winning, what are you even doing? Why even bother being in professional baseball at that point? You have Paul Skeens. Go for it. Give it a shot. But there's been no indication now for so long that the Pirates are ever going to be willing to spend the money that's required to build a winning team. And that's, again, a real shame especially like we've been alluding to, you sort of know that the clock on Skeens is ticking, and that it's naive to imagine he would even consider signing a long-term contract with Pittsburgh. There's really almost no way it'll happen.
Yeah, unless suddenly he loves the town and decides, I'll stick around here. He can pitch great. There's not a lot of pressure when you play for the Pirates, I suppose. But to go back-to-back All-Star game starts in your first year and a half, we have to remember he didn't join the Pirates last year till May. It's not as if he went even to spring training and right up to the bigs. Obviously, he was at spring training in 2024, but was in Double-A. I guess he went from Double-A. Maybe he was in Triple-A. I forget what he was. Maybe in Indianapolis as opposed to Altoona. But to come up and be that impactful. So the last question, I appreciate your joining us, by the way. We are talking with Jared Diamond, sports reporter and writer for the Wall Street Journal. Great article, folks, if you can track it down. This is back on June 12th. I'm a little behind getting my guests, but I saw this article the other day laying here at the studio, and I'm like, well, I got to give this guy a call. Can he win the Cy Young with 10 wins or less, or a losing record, giving his ERA, his WHIP, you name it? Is that possible in baseball nowadays?
It's definitely possible, right? Like, it definitely can happen. It felt like it's sort of only a matter of time before it does. A few years back, we were having this exact same conversation about Jacob deGrom when he was on New York, and I think his ERA was like 1.75. I don't have it in front of me, but it's something like that. It was something really extraordinary. And he did win the Cy Young. He actually did ultimately get to that 10 and over that 10 win mark, thanks to sort of a late run scoring barrage by the lowly Mets. I don't know if it's going to happen for Skeens. I think the biggest challenge Skeens faces to winning the Cy Young is not like whether he can win it with fewer than 10 wins. I think baseball has moved to the place where that definitely can happen. It's whether Zach Wheeler just continues to thrive, right? Like, Zach Wheeler's been extraordinary this season. He's been as good, or in some ways even better than Skeens. He's also on a much, much better team. So I do think that if things are kind of close, right? Things are equal, close to equal, but Wheeler's got 18, 19 wins, 20 wins, and Skeens has got 8. Many voters are going to tip the scales in favor of Wheeler. For Skeens to win it with that few wins, he needs to be sort of far and away better than everybody else in the National League and in all the sort of other categories. And because of that, can't really say that. It's more like a 1 and a 1A, not Skeens and then a big gap.
Exactly. Jared Diamond from the Wall Street Journal joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Jared, if folks want to follow you, aside from, of course, going to the website for the Wall Street Journal, how can they follow you on X and other social media?
Yeah, like you said, you can find me stuff at WSJ.com, but I'm also just at Jared Diamond on all the socials, Twitter, whatever. So, yeah, give me a follow, read my stuff. Appreciate it.
Well, when I caught this article, I knew Skeens was big. I didn't know it was Wall Street Journal big, and that puts it at a whole new level when the Wall Street Journal is doing an article.
Now he's made it. This was the thing that got him over the hump.
That's right. He's the best pitcher in baseball, and he can barely win a game, was the headline. And that's a compliment, frankly. That's not an insult to Paul Skeens. Hey, Jared, thanks so much. Enjoyed talking with you. No doubt we'd like to have you on again sometime, so we appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Jared Diamond, folks. Again, check him out on Twitter, at Jared Diamond, Jared Diamond, just like it sounds. Of course, go to the Wall Street Journal website as well. We're going to wrap it up here. Our first hour, we're with you till 8 o'clock tonight. But stick around. We're going to talk. We already talked baseball. Later today, believe it or not, we're going to talk about the Wiffle Ball National Championship, which is in Washington, PA, coming up. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Here's a business looking for a customer.
Hi there.
Here's a customer looking for a business.
Hi.
And that's where the Better Business Bureau comes in. The BBB connects people with businesses they can trust. That's why 2023 IABBB research found 80% of people choose BBB accredited businesses over non-accredited ones with the same A+ letter rating. Live happily, better after. Always look for the sign of a better business because it's looking out for you. And find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
It's a day that ends in Y, so it's a day that you might decide you don't want to cook. That means it's the perfect day to order Fat Angelo's. Offering delicious pizzas, salads, hoagies, strombolis and calzones, wings, and more. And with 12 locations across the area ready to serve you, today is the day to visit FatAngelosPizza.com, where you can quickly and conveniently find your local shop and place your order online. Or get the local phone number and give them a call. Order up!
This is Eric Cushy from Curtis Pharmacy. People love being in their home more than being in some type of facility. Our independent living program is a tool to help you keep a senior in their home longer. Part of our onboarding process is we coordinate with all of your physicians, get new prescriptions, we handle all the refills, and we make sure there's no problem with one medication versus another from different doctors. Go to our website at curtispharmacy.com, call any one of our 4 area locations, Claysville, Washington, Connellsville, or Carmichael's.
Does your car sound like it's saying, "Trade me in, trade me in," every time you start it up? Well, go to Ford of Uniontown and trade it in. That's right, your Uniontown Ford dealer is ready to assist you with a new or pre-owned car, truck, or SUV purchase. Ford of Uniontown has all the deals, all the inventory, and they are ready to deal. It has never been a better time to buy a Ford. Service is their top priority. No matter where you purchase your Ford car or truck, Ford of Uniontown will be happy to service it for you. They offer Ford-trained technicians, Ford-certified parts and service, 1-year, 12,000-mile parts warranties, and new state-of-the-art service equipment. Call or stop in today to see the hometown service of Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 West across from Applebee's. So listen to your car the next time you hear it say, "Trade me in, trade me in." Ford of Uniontown, Route 40 at the top of the hill.
Did you know that you have a choice for your physical therapy provider? NovaCare Rehabilitation offers same-day appointments, and oftentimes you don't need a prescription from your doctor to see us. We will make sure that you are treated as an individual and will work directly one-on-one with you to help achieve your goals. You have tried the rest, now try the best. NovaCare, Delaware Avenue in Uniontown. Phone 724-437-0556 to schedule your appointment today.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather on the way, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friend's spring grooming. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
WMBS.
Welcome back to the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown. I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden over there at the controls. And of course, no Pirate baseball tonight. They'll be back in action Friday. They used to take 3 days off for the World Series.
I know, yeah. Now they take like 4 or 5
They take 4 days off. I'm sure that's some since, frankly, the Players Union runs the entire sport.
Yeah.
I'm sure they asked for that one.
By the way, they were talking about we may have only 3 or 4 years left. One of those years may be a lockout year.
You're right. Oh, yeah, that's coming up. And
27.
Of course, they always talk about, so-and-so's holding out or he wants more money. There's very little discussion about how absolutely obscene the salaries are. Good heavens. At times you think, dear heavens, did we actually forget that these guys are getting paid $17 million a year, or even worse is the NBA. When you look at the salaries in the NBA, they're just beyond understanding. 81 degrees right now, we think, or 82 and a half outside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, we're going to check in with Professor Burwood Yost from Franklin Marshall College. A state poll on folks' thoughts on the big, beautiful bill. We'll talk to him about that. Then we're going to talk to Linda Kenyon, I mentioned that earlier. We'll talk to her as well. But first, CBS News from New York on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Michael Wallace, President Trump is again lashing out at Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but is backing off his threats to fire him.
President Trump has long complained the Fed chairman has been too slow to lower interest rates, but will he fire Jerome Powell?
She's doing a lousy job, but no, I'm not talking about that.
But just moments later,
I don't rule out anything, but I think it's highly unlikely.
He also said he did discuss Powell's future with members of Congress.
I said, what do you think? Almost every one of them said I should.
By law, the Fed chair can only be fired for cause. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump is blasting his supporters who are still calling for the release of more files regarding convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
CBS's Scott McFarland.
For the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the FBI Director Kash Patel, and the Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, they were three of the loudest voices calling for Epstein information released in 2024. Before they took office, before they assumed responsibility.
Former Vice President Mike Pence just told CBS News the administration should release all the Epstein files. Investigators believe the fire that killed 9 people at an assisted living facility in Fall River, Massachusetts Sunday was accidental. Fire Chief Jeffrey Bacon says it was a rough one for his crews.
A chaotic scene. They describe seeing faces in windows, and having to decide who they need to rescue. 6
firefighters were injured. The Senate is considering whether to pull $9 billion of funding for foreign aid and public broadcasting. CBS's Nicole Killian says 3 Republicans opposed the clawbacks, including Lisa Murkowski of Alaska.
She has certainly expressed concerns with respect to the impact on public broadcasting, particularly in a state like Alaska, which has a lot of rural areas.
Vice President J.D. Vance had to cast a tie-breaking vote yesterday just to advance the package. A Texas judge has set an October 16th execution date for a man who would be the first in the U.S. to be put to death for shaken baby syndrome.
58-year-old Robert Robertson was convicted in 2003 of murdering his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki. It's since surfaced that she had undiagnosed pneumonia and sepsis. His attorney, Gretchen Swen.
It's a mountain of evidence showing that this poor child died of natural and accidental causes, not shaken baby syndrome.
Robertson's 2024 execution was temporarily blocked by a bipartisan majority of the Texas House of Representatives. Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
The Nasdaq closed at a record high today. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Oak Pizza in downtown Uniontown is your one-stop shop for the most unique pizzas in the region. From the masterminds behind the Fat Angelo's franchise, Oak Pizza is the laboratory where the Fat Angelo's food scientists test their creations and let you be the judge. With traditional favorites like pepperoni and buffalo chicken pizzas to more experimental offerings like the sesame seed-infused Mad Pie or the spicy chicken pickle pizza, Oak has you covered. Order today at oakpizzas.com or by calling 724-439-5805. Your taste buds will thank you.
Wow, your dog looks beautiful.
We went to Mutt's on Market Street, the new dog grooming salon in downtown Brownsville. Samantha, the owner, has over 10 years dog grooming experience. They work with any dog, any breed, any size.
Didn't it cost a fortune?
No, the prices are great. They offer a full line of grooming and other services.
With warm weather on the way, now's the time to schedule an appointment for your furry friend's spring grooming. Mutt's on Market Street, downtown Brownsville, next to Hope Park. For more information, visit Mutt's on Market Street on Facebook. Mutt's on Market Street will be open during the Market Street repairs.
A music legend is addressing a long-standing rumor.
Everybody's got a thing.
Stevie Wonder stopped a concert in Cardiff, Wales, and commented on claims he can see.
The truth is, shortly after my birth, I became blind.
The 75-year-old singer calls his blindness a blessing.
It's allowed me to see people in the spirit of them, not how they look, what color they are.
Last year, in an episode of the Wonder of Stevie audiobook, he shared that his mother would cry every night after he was diagnosed. He says he assured her God might have had something bigger in store for him. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
A beetle infestation is threatening some of the world's oldest books at a medieval abbey in Hungary. The beetles are attracted to adhesives in the books and have already damaged about a quarter of the library's 400,000 volumes. One rescued Bible dates back to the 13th century. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The award-winning local, district, and statewide news is being brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home of Point Marion. Offering customized care for all residents, Point Hill Living Care Home is committed to compassionate care and personalized support. And now the news.
From the Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios at your local station. 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS, Davis & Davis, voted Fayette County's best law firm in 2024. Good evening. It's 82 and it is sunny. The Weather Watch is coming up, but first the local, district, and statewide news. Several injuries reported following a house fire in Fayette County this morning. It broke out around 2 inside a home on Miles Road in Dunbar Township. Officials say 4 people were taken to the hospital. 3 of them were transported by medical helicopter. 1 woman listed in critical condition at last check, with the 3 others listed as stable. There's been no word on what may have started the fire. Laurel Canyons in Fayette County have been proposed as Pennsylvania's next state park. Governor Shapiro emphasizing homegrown tourism in his budget proposal. Once the budget's approved, the site could become Pennsylvania's 125th state park and the first underground. It's the largest cave in the northern U.S. and features over 4 miles of passages. The property will be donated to the Commonwealth and turned over to the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. Upgrades will be made to the utilities and the trails and enhanced as the Laurel Canyons official becomes a state park. Gas prices are 9 cents lower in western Pennsylvania this week at $3.41 a gallon. That's according to AAA East Central Gas Prices Report. Statewide, gas on average at $3.25. That's down 4 cents from last week. In Uniontown, on average gas is $3.49 a gallon. In Greensburg, it's $3.07. In Pittsburgh, it's $3.36. And in Morgantown, $2.90. The national average for a gallon of gas fell this week to $3.15. It's been 4 years since the national average has been this low during the summer. The national average per kilowatt hour of electricity at public EV charging stations stayed the same this past week at 36 cents. A bipartisan group of congressmen say Western Pennsylvania's status as a growing energy hub justifies moving a key federal office here. U.S. Representatives Chris Luzio, Guy Reschenthaler, and John Joyce introducing legislation that would relocate the Department of Energy's Office of Fossil Energy and Carbon Management to Pittsburgh by the end of 2026. It mimics a bill introduced last month by U.S. Senators John Fetterman and Dave McCormick. Lawmakers did not disclose any specific locations under consideration. The D.C.-based office oversees development of unconventional oil and gas resources, as well as government strategic reserves of crude and heating oil. It also houses the National Energy Technology Laboratory. They operate out of a South Park township. And a 54-pound rock is up for auction today, and it's from Mars. CBS's Elaine Cobb has more.
It's the largest chunk of Mars ever found on Earth, and it's expected to fetch between $2 and $4 million at auction this week.
This is a massive 54-pound Martian meteorite that landed in the middle of the Sahara Desert.
Cassandra Hatton is with Sotheby's. Scientists believe it broke off the surface of the planet in an asteroid strike. Elaine Cobb, CBS News.
WMBS time is 6:09. Sports and weather next.
Point Hill Living Care Home is an all-new personal care home conveniently located in Point Marion and is now accepting new residents. Point Hill Living is committed to providing comfort and support while allowing residents to maintain their independence and enhance their quality of life. With a dedicated staff and experienced advanced care team, Point Hill Living offers fully customized care plans for all residents, while also ensuring a sense of community and engagement, making Point Hill feel like home. Multiple care levels are available, from basic plans to fully customized and enhanced plans, including options for medical monitoring and full-time dedicated assistance. If you are looking for a high-quality care home close to home, look no further than Point Hill Living Care Home at 300 Union Street in Point Marion. Call them today at 724-725-5533 to learn more, or visit them at pointhillliving.com. Point Hill Living Care Home, where our residents are family.
WMBS time is 6:10, and in sports, Pirates have traded veteran utility player Adam Frazier to the Royals in exchange for minor league infielder Cam Devaney. Frazier is played in 78 games this season, split between the second base, left field, and right field. His average is .255 with 21 ribbies. He spent last season with Kansas City after bouncing around the majors following his start with the Pirates. Penguins released their upcoming schedule. Earlier this week, they announced that they were opening the season on the road against their former coach and his new club, the New York Rangers, at Madison Square, October the 7th. The Pens opened their home season 2 days later as they welcomed the New York Islanders to PPG Paints Arena. In November, the Penguins will be overseas as part of the NHL's Global Series. They'll play the Nashville Predators November 14th and 16th in Sweden. They wrap up their home schedule Saturday, April 11th against the Caps, and wrap up the season on the road in St. Louis on April the 14th. WMBS time is 6:11. The Weather Watch. Showers and thunderstorms overnight, low 70. Partly sunny tomorrow with afternoon showers, thunderstorms, and a high of 84. Mostly cloudy with showers and thunderstorms tomorrow night, low 68. Mostly cloudy again Friday with a chance of showers and thunderstorms, high 79. Mostly cloudy with showers and a chance of thunderstorms both Saturday and Sunday. The high both days, 82. Partly sunny with a chance of showers Monday and Tuesday. The high Monday, 81. 84 on Tuesday. It's 82, and it is partly to mostly sunny at your local station, WMBS. And we can't say the third half because this is the second of 3 half. Anyway, Doug Saltzman's coming up.
The local, district, and statewide news was brought to you by Point Hill Living Care Home. Conveniently located in Point Marion, call them today at 724-725-5533 to see if their services are right for you and your loved one.
Have you been told there is nothing that can be done for your neuropathy? Tri-State Neuropathy Centers is pleased to tell you that's not true. As one of the largest and most successful neuropathy treatment practices in the country, Tri-State Neuropathy Centers has grown to 9 regional centers and helped over 14,000 patients, like Kim from Morgantown. Kim was experiencing such severe numbness, burning, and stabbing pain in her feet that she constantly felt distracted in life. Then Kim discovered Tri-State Neuropathy Centers and their effective FDA-approved treatment program that has no drugs, is non-invasive, and painless. Kim no longer has the pain that was limiting her daily activities, and she's now enjoying life again. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers helped Kim, along with thousands of others. Let them help you next. Call 304-777-2068. That's 304-777-2068. Tri-State Neuropathy Centers, the leader in treating peripheral neuropathy.
Enjoy the Story Square Summer Concert Series every Thursday throughout the summer from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. featuring music and food with local bands and vendors. WMBS will also be on hand for a live broadcast with the prize wheel and giveaways various Thursdays throughout the summer. Bring along your friends and family to enjoy the talents of local musicians. It's an ideal opportunity to celebrate community spirit and support local talent. The Story Square Summer Concert Series is supported by the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Uniontown and presented weekly by fine businesses including Premier Nissan, First Federal Savings and Loan Association of Greene County, the Herald Standard, the Sprouse Insurance Group and insurance agent David Hughes, the WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital, Lee's Plumbing, Mike Kelly Toyota of Uniontown, the Fayette Launchbox, A1 Porta Johns, and by Fayette Area Coordinated Transportation. Check out the full schedule of the 2025 concert series at uniontownredevelopment.com/Story Square. We will see you there.
Yeah, they're the people I trust. It's the place I go. Home, warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
This is home improvement season. Home Warehouse in Uniontown is your one-stop shop for all your exterior building needs. It's the place that makes a house a happy home. Looking to add a deck? Home Warehouse carries composite decking materials and maintenance-free railing in a variety of styles. Plus, roofing shingles, metal and commercial rubber roofing, windows and doors, shutters, siding, soffit and fascia, railing, columns, 5 and 6-inch seamless gutters, plus flooring and more. Whatever building products you need, you'll be pleased with the selection and hometown service. So stop in and see Sandy and Donnie at Home Warehouse, Connellsville Street in Uniontown. Shop Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, Saturday, 8 to noon, closed Sunday and holidays.
Home Warehouse, where a house becomes a home.
Are you considering a project design and don't know where to start? K2 Engineering offers a wide range of professional civil, architectural, and municipal services to meet your individual project needs. Our versatility combined with our personalized approach is what sets us apart as a full-service engineering and consultation firm. To learn more about our services, please visit us on the web at www.k2engineering.net. K2 Engineering, where customer service is our priority.
Check out the new program on WMBS Local Leaf Live the second and fourth Thursday morning of every month at 10:15. Brought to you by Local Leaf in Scottdale. The program covers the Pennsylvania medical marijuana industry, qualifying medical conditions in Pennsylvania, product information from the Local Leaf staff, how to register for your medical card, and how medical marijuana is improving patients' lives. Local Leaf Live brought to you by Local Leaf in Scottdale the second and fourth Thursday morning of every month at 10:15 on WMBS.
As Nick was mentioning, I knew I was going to say it. As Bill Madden was mentioning earlier, he's joining us in studio today. Nick,
I've been called worse.
Nick is on assignment. Is that what we say in this industry?
Yeah,
Nick is on assignment. Where was about calling this the third half of the show. Every once in a while, someone will say, "What in heaven's names are you talking about? The third half? What does that mean?" Well, NPR, the show back in the day, which was their highest rating show by far, Car Talk. That's the laughter that was nonstop on that show. Yeah. Click and Clack, the Tapper Brothers, Tom and Ray, Majorak. I could never say their name right. Do I have that right, Bill?
I believe it's Maglione.
Maglione, that's it, Maglione. They always talked about the third half of their show. Their show was only an hour long on Saturdays. It started as a local public radio show up in Boston, and the most fascinating guys. They each had, 2 master's degrees, a couple of PhDs. They were genius MIT, Harvard guys who ran a service station, literally a service station.
Yeah, and what happened is that the younger brother,
Ray's the younger one. Tom died about 5-6 years ago.
Ray was invited to be a guest on a show at the local PBS station or NPR station.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
And he said, and he was so engaging, they said, "Would you like to do a show?" And he said, "I'd like to have my brother join me." And that's how it got started back in the day.
Yeah, and of course they always made fun of academia and how engineers couldn't not figure out how to tie their shoes.
As well they should.
Right, and it's a great show. I don't know if anybody ever learned about cars on it, but you laughed out loud. They loved to laugh. They were good at snorting once in a while during their laughter. So it was a terrific show, and man, I do miss it. My brother bought me a couple of CDs of their show, which I'll drive along in the car and listen to. And some of my favorite stories, a woman called in and said that her husband's a cowboy, worked on a ranch, and he borrowed her car one day, and he left the windows open, and during the course of a day, a horse ate her steering wheel. So these are the type of things that people would call in about. Or if their car is making a funny noise, they had no problem with making that noise over the air. My car is going blah, 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 blah.
And they would know what that was.
Yeah. Or they would laugh their way through it and say, we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, but they were rerunning the shows for a while. I don't know if they don't do it anymore, but I'm sure you can go on YouTube
and find it. They were
some kind of an archive.
They were fine. And of course, when NPR was doing their pledge breaks, they would do it during that show because they knew that more people listened, and they would extend it to 2 hours on those days because more people listened to that show. than any of the other programming on NPR, where they would talk about, the agricultural habits of pre-Kurd Afghanistan or something. You know how NPR can be on those deep topics. But then I shouldn't say that because I do some crazy topics from time to time as well. Coming up here in a moment, Linda Kenyon's going to join us. She was traveling yesterday with President Trump, of course, when he came into Pittsburgh for the inaugural Energy and Innovation, actually also Artificial Intelligence Summit at Carnegie Mellon University, hosted by Pennsylvania's junior senator, U.S. Senator David McCormick, and attended by, you name it, those people were at that event yesterday. As we're going to talk later, actually during the 7 o'clock hour with Rich Fitzgerald, the former county executive of Allegheny County, current director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission. He was at the event yesterday at Carnegie Mellon University, and of course, he's been involved in politics a long time. Rich Fitzgerald, he said he had never seen anything like it, that group of people in that room. Yesterday, when Dick Jewell joined us, he said he'd never seen so many billionaires in one place in his life, perhaps. But joining us right now to talk about that, who traveled with the president yesterday, came into southwestern Pennsylvania, and for some reason did not stop by WMBS to say hi, Bill. The nerve of her, for heaven's sakes. Here we are waiting for her.
88. Yesterday was our 88th birthday.
It was our 88th birthday. You're right. WMBS. And you would think Linda would have stopped in. Nonetheless, being the open-minded people we are, we're going to have her on today anyways. Linda Kenyon, CBS News correspondent, reporter, anchor extraordinaire. So you flew into Pittsburgh yesterday.
I did. I'm so sorry. They didn't give us a lot of free time yesterday.
Oh, you could have asked. Divert the motorcade. Come on down to Uniontown and check in on our 80th birthday. I think that's why the president came into town, because it was our 88th birthday here at WMBS. Yes. We are 88 years old, believe it or not.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's a good run.
And we are still a family-owned company after 88 years, and there's aren't too many that can.
Still CBS affiliates.
Yeah, we've been CBS affiliate from back in the day. Yeah, you're right.
Wow.
We've been. We don't go for change around here. If you look at our studio, it hasn't changed much in 88 years, frankly.
Nobody explained the carpet.
Yeah, the carpeting, the wallpaper. We don't know what. We don't know what this foam is on the wall. We just hope it's not asbestos. Yeah. The inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit at Carnegie Mellon University, out in the medical education corridor of Pittsburgh, hosted by, of course, Senator Dave McCormick. The president came in for it. It was quite the to-do of technology celebrities, was it not?
It certainly was. It was really a who's who. I mean, we had folks there from Google, from Westinghouse, Blackstone, CoreWeave, a whole lot of companies that were all pledging to invest not only in AI, but in the AI data centers, but in generation of power, which are needed to make these AI data centers operate. And that means jobs, that means massive investments. And they were also joined by various cabinet secretaries, and it was a very big deal. It was a roundtable discussion, but it wasn't really a round table. It was more like a rectangle, and there were a lot of people, as you said, a who's who of captains of industry, and with a lot of money to spend in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, they announced, and some of this was already committed, but the total amount, $92 billion with a B. That's Andrew Carnegie money, for heaven's sakes, back when he sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan, creating the first billion-dollar company, U.S. Steel, in Pittsburgh, which has also been in the news lately, of course. But yeah, to bring those people together, CMU, of course, is it's interesting. It's a small school, but with an absolute international reputation for what they do, everything from robotics and technology to their performing arts school. It's sort of a fascinating school for the size of it, CMU.
Yeah, it was a nice campus from what I was able to see.
Yeah, but, what they let you see, right?
So fast.
You've got to stick to your to the you don't want to get out of line. You don't want to get down their hall and then miss your ride back out to the airport. They probably,
yeah, that's right, because the plane would leave without me.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Linda's coming. Hold on, guys. Yeah, I don't. If that would have happened, where is she? Well, she's down at WMBS visiting on their 88th birthday. That may have worked. I suppose if you
so
had,
that you guys wouldn't worry about the consequences of having to foot the bill to fly me home separately.
we'd have to get you back home or wherever you're headed. Somebody the intern would have taken you home, for heaven's sakes. That's why we have intern. Can't think of his name. What's our intern's name? Nice fellow. Lucas. I thought it was Jacob. Lucas, one of those new names. Yeah. Well, back to, as you can tell, we don't get real serious around here at times, Linda. You've been joined us a lot over the years. But yeah, to bring this group of people together, it's hard enough to get the cabinet secretaries all in the cabinet room, let alone at a remote location, plus all these other folks that came in for a junior senator who's been in office 6 months. It was quite the event. I was director of Senator Arlen Specter's Pittsburgh office back in the day, and we never had an event like that. We'd have cabinet secretaries come in, maybe the president, but nothing of that magnitude. It really was
all in the
sort of
same room.
shocking.
It was definitely an impressive turnout.
Yeah, I have trouble getting all four of my daughters together for an event, let alone that. Of course, if the president calls, I suppose. Folks will change their schedule regardless if they're CEO of Amazon or what have you. Did they indicate what's the next step following this inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit? It really dealt a lot with AI, but I guess the issues they talked about is the need for energy. You think of steel mills needing a lot of energy. You don't think of technology needing that, but apparently it does.
Right. And the president and his cabinet secretaries have come up with the idea that, look, these data-generating centers do require a tremendous amount of power. So where's that power going to come from? Because the current grid just can't sustain that kind of power. So the president said, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we grant these AI data centers also the ability to build power-generating facilities, all basically on the same campus, all maybe even under the same roof? And that way they can be self-powered. And he says if they generate even more power than they need, they can sell it to the grid. So that seems certainly on paper to be a win-win situation. Whether the AI data generation centers can generate enough power on their own remains, one of the questions. But, the president has focused a lot on promoting fossil fuels and nuclear energy. He hasn't been very keen on wind and solar, but he says that this is going to be a situation that will utilize pretty much all power sources for power generation in these data centers. Although, again, he did take some time to pillory wind power. He's really not a fan of windmills.
Yeah, it's interesting. On a related topic, just earlier this year, Constellation Energy announced investing $1.6 billion and you could have won a big bet on this, that this would never have happened, to reopen 3 Mile Island, the nuclear power plant out near Harrisburg, largely driven by a 20-year purchase agreement with Microsoft to reopen that plant. I remember in high school writing a term paper about 3 Mile Island, and the thought that it would probably never reopen. And now I guess it's what do they call it? The first part of that plant will be reopening again as a result of this. This incredible need for energy. There was a time when the electric arc furnaces in Pittsburgh, up and down the Monongahela River, where my dad worked, they drew power from every plant they could find. Who would think that technology would require similar loads?
Yeah, that's true. You do certainly, you picture heavy manufacturing with use of heavy energy, but certainly, how much energy can a computer or a host of computers generate? Well, apparently, not just generate, but utilize. And apparently, it's quite a lot.
That sure is. Linda Kenyon joining us, and we're willing to forgive you for not stopping by for our birthday. You should have seen the cake we had, a big welcome sign for you outside our studio. Welcome, Kenyon. Something like that it said. I can't remember. Or welcome, Linda, because we used it for Linda's birthday a while back. We just redid it.
Yeah, but the parade went on as scheduled.
The parade one is scheduled. That's right.
Oh, well, I'm heartened to hear that. Thank you very much.
One of those big cutouts we put on the Linda Kenyon. People got their picture taken with it. Linda, thanks so much. As always, we hope you enjoy our interviews with you. It's we keep things,
always fun.
We keep things light and lively. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Linda
Bye-bye.
Kenyon joining us on the WMBS Newsmakers line. She flew in with the president yesterday.
And boy, were her arms tired.
Yeah, exactly. I told a story yesterday, and it really is worth repeating. I was helping out with a presidential visit into Pittsburgh, and of course the motorcades come in, and they have these huge 16-passenger vans filled with members of the media, and they always like to have a staffer in with that media who won't say the wrong thing. Believe it or not, that would be me. And I could answer questions off the record if they had questions about the region. So we're flying down the Parkway from Pittsburgh International Airport on the way to downtown Pittsburgh. And some young girl they grabbed, it's probably a young Republican because it was a Republican President George Bush is driving this van and suddenly breaks into tears. It's this huge van she's driving. She's about 17. We're doing 85 miles per hour because there's no speed limits for the presidential motorcade. And she said, I can't do this. I have to pull over. And all of a sudden the media in the car is like, no, you get out of line on a motorcade. You're done.
Yeah.
So we tell her to put it in cruise control. I said, okay, I'm going to get behind you. Now we're in this big van. I said, when I say slide over to the other seat. And we're flying down the Parkway. And I slide into the seat and I take over. And here's a member of the media, a woman who's like rubbing this poor girl's back saying, it's okay, don't worry about it. But yeah, the last thing they wanted to do was stop the motor, pull over.
No, yeah.
Once you're out, you're out.
Yeah, you're gone. You might as well go back to the office.
Yeah.
And
9 members of the media from wherever would have missed the event.
Yeah.
That was funny. So none of them reported on the fact that we switched drivers.
In midstream.
That's right. CBS News Update is next. Stick around.
CBS News Brief. President Trump is backing off his threats to fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell, but is still blasting him for not cutting interest rates.
So he's doing a lousy job, but no, I'm not talking about that. Fortunately, we get to make a change in the next, 8 months or so.
Powell's time as Fed chair expires in May. The president is also hammering fellow Republicans, calling for the release of more Jeffrey Epstein files. Former Vice President Mike Pence tells CBS News,
I know of no reason why this administration, once the victims' names are protected, should not release all the files on Jeffrey Epstein.
The BBC's Yolande Nell reports at least 20 Palestinians were killed in a stampede at an aid distribution site in Gaza.
A witness saying that many of these boys had pushed forwards in their effort to get the food handouts at this site and were trapped in an area between 2 fences.
Hamas guards had set off stun grenades and pepper spray. CBS News Brief. I'm Michael Wallace.
Come January of next year, that
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
Hey love, I'm Tiffany from Tiffany Smith Fine Arts Studios, serving up confidence boosts in Periopolis in our brand new luxury studio in downtown Pittsburgh. I'm not just here to take your picture, I'm here to help you remember who you are. Whether it's been a wild few years or you're just feeling a little blah, this is your permission slip to feel powerful again. You'll laugh, maybe cry, and leave feeling like that girl. Book your experience at TiffanySmithFineArtStudios.com because you deserve to be seen.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's
a pig? It's also a chance to win big with WMBS and the Pennsylvania Lottery. Now till the end of July, just be the 6th caller to 724-438-4593 whenever you hear. And you'll win 15 $2 When Pigs Fly scratch-off tickets with 10 top prizes of $20,000. Benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Must be 18 or older to play. Please play responsibly.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Warm weather is finally here, and with it, the opportunity to upgrade your lawn or yard with a new fence from All Around Fence Company. Conveniently located at 7896 National Pike, Uniontown, All Around Fence has been installing quality residential, commercial, and farm fencing for more than 45 years. Offering residential fencing including chain link, decorative aluminum, steel, and more, All Around Fence has a fence for you. All Around Fence is also your one-stop shop for Nutrient products and carries livestock, equine, and pet supplies too. So whether you need to upgrade an existing fence, add a new gate, or are looking to install an all-new fence, All Around Fence has the answers for you. Visit them Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or give them a call at 724-439-0331. To learn more, visit allaroundfence.com.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp, so if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
WMBS.
That is one of those great start to a song, is it not?
Yes.
That's a cool one. And that's a great one to come out of a break with. Because of course, the rule is you come out of a break on a radio show, you don't want to have lyrics. No. You just want the music. Right. That's a basic rule. I learned that.
You're seeing that now. That rule is going out.
No, that's it. Everything's out the window these days. I learned that from a longtime professional in the radio industry, Bill Madden. You know, I haven't brought up in a while the fact that several years ago they hired you with 30 years experience instead of me for the full-time job with 3 years experience.
Yeah, well, life is unfair.
But now you only have 37 years. I'm up to 11. I'm catching up.
Yep. So by the time we're 150, you'll be past.
I'll be past you. That's right. And just give it time, and I will catch up. I never quite understand how that works, but I can't balance my checkbook. So that's
balance. Who does that anymore?
Nobody does.
You punch a few numbers in on Quicken, and there you go.
That's close enough. That's right. Yeah. Now we have to, before we have fun and talk to our next guest in the 7 o'clock hour, talking about the National Wiffle Ball Tournament, which is happening right here in southwestern PA. Before we have fun, we have to do our work. So our next guest will do that work. And joining us from Franklin and Marshall College, the director of the Floyd Institute for Public Policy Center for Opinion Research, also director of the Franklin and Marshall poll, and about 4 other things. He's got a very big business card. Professor Burwood Yost. Professor, we haven't talked to you in a bit. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Doug. How are you?
Good. And if you want to stick around when we have our discussion with the tournament director of the National Wiffle Ball League tournament coming up, and it is a real thing. I'm not making that up.
That sounds fun to me. Count me in.
And no doubt has an economic impact. There's people coming from everywhere to play wiffle ball here in southwestern Pennsylvania. But we'll get through this first. This is the important stuff. Then we'll have some fun a little bit later. Always enjoy reading your updates and the latest from the Institute and the polling. And what better to poll on? And depending who you say this to, they cringe or they applaud the big, beautiful bill. And I followed this stuff pretty close. It was well into this process before I realized that was the actual name of this bill. It's called the Big Beautiful Bill. I thought that was just some nickname that President Trump gave it, like alligator, Alcatraz, and all that. But this one's for real, and it passed. And your institute did polling on it and how it looks for Pennsylvanians. So let's start with that. First off, I think it's an easy answer to the question, but what made you decide to poll on this topic?
Well, it's obviously, as this legislation has worked its way through Congress, it's been the topic of much conversation, and everything that we do is interested in what might happen in the next election. So, as you well know, politics is dynamic. It never stops. It always changes. And so, this is a big bill. It's probably the the signature will be the signature accomplishment of the president. And so it's worth taking a moment to kind of look at how the public's going to view it. And more importantly, try to understand some of the effects it might have in different parts of the state, because according to the CBO, it's likely to see reductions in Medicaid and nutrition SNAP enrollment, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And so if those enrollments decline, there's likely to be some electoral consequences. So we wanted to explore those kinds of things.
Yeah, midterm elections, and of course that's the election in the even-numbered year between the presidential elections, rarely go well for the incumbent president's party. The last time that a party picked up seats in a midterm in the same party as the president, of course, was 2002. Of course, that was following 9/11. All rules went away that year. And the Republicans picked up seats in that 2002 election when President George W. Bush, the younger, was president. But ever since and before, that does not happen a whole lot, does it? The opposite party does pretty well, usually, in those midterms.
Yeah, normally you would expect the party in power to lose seats in Congress. The Senate's a different matter just because of not the entire Senate is up for election every cycle, so that can be more or less affected by the midterm tides. But certainly you expect the party in power to lose seats in the House in a midterm election. And, oftentimes that's because the party who gains power in the presidential election overreaches in their efforts to enact their legislation. So they think of their electoral win as giving them a mandate, and they push forward with some policies that aren't universally popular. And next thing you know, candidates in marginal districts have a tough time dealing with that.
Yeah. Of course, the midterm elections at this point, if you're running next year, you're well into your campaign, even though this is only July of 2025, and we still have a general election coming up, of course, in November this year, in what they call I don't like to call it an off-year election because these are just as important as any, and that's an old cliche, but it is. When you're electing school board members and municipal elected officials, county commissioners, they have more impact on your life than, frankly, a U.S. senator does.
Let's not forget about judicial races that also run in these elections, which are really consequential.
Yeah, they sure are in this year alone. And the first time getting a lot of attention this year, and this is off the topic a bit, are retention elections for Supreme Court justices in Pennsylvania. Judges don't run for re-election; they simply run for retention. Keep them or get rid of them is the vote, and that's every 10 years. And it's only really happened once in our lifetime that a state Supreme Court justice lost retention, and that was no fault of his own. Frankly, it followed the pay increase vote by the General Assembly, which eliminated about 25% of the General Assembly that year. And took down a Supreme Court justice, as we talk with Professor Burwood Yost from Franklin and Marshall College. Of course, when you talk about the impact of a piece of legislation like the president's budget bill, you talk about messaging and what will the message be at the federal level, even the state level. State officials have to discuss this as well, even though it's a federal bill. The average person is running their life. They're raising their kids, going to work. They mix up sometimes who's their state official, who's their federal official. And but this, in terms of a piece of federal legislation, I don't think I can think of one that has gone across all political borders, regardless of what level of government you're in. Have you noticed that?
Right. Yeah, look, when you look at public opinion that I've seen on this particular bill, it's probably the least popular major bill that we've seen passed, this century since 2000. And so, there are a lot of people concerned about many of the reductions, particularly in Medicare and SNAP programs. But I think, and also many people are worried about what it does to the long-term United States national debt and the deficit. But I think what really the argument is going to be about is on the Republicans' side, they're going to sell this as a tax cut bill, and that is going to unleash, job creators and really grow the economy. And I think Democrats will see this as a bill that reduces benefits, reduces, the assistance we provide for the poorest people, and also redistributes income from the bottom to the top. And so that's going to be the tangle, the messaging that we see in play over the next year and a half. And we'll see which of those messages wins.
Yeah. When you think about the impact of a piece of legislation like this, the fact that the changes, as you point out in your report, the changes to Medicaid won't begin until after the midterms are over, and then it becomes an issue for J.D. Vance as we look at 2028. And no doubt it's going to be part of the debate when John Fetterman runs for election in 2028. Hard to believe that we were already talking about that. Seems like John Fetterman's been around forever. He's been in office 2.5 years in the U.S. Senate.
He was our lieutenant governor.
Right, lieutenant governor.
He has occupied some of our mind space for a while.
Right. And then before that, mayor of Braddock, Pennsylvania. So it's been quite a shift for John Fetterman over the years at the time he's been in office. As overall, the ratings for President Trump are how they usually are. He's usually higher negatives than positives, and most people would look at that and say, "Well, how'd this guy get himself reelected twice or get elected twice to presidency in non-concurrent terms?" But again, it has so much to do with your opponent at times. When you think about him running against Hillary Clinton, the first time ever that both major party candidates had higher negatives than positives, and it's happened since, hasn't it?
Right. Well, look, I think, I've been working on looking back over since 2000 at various data points. And, one of the things that was pretty clear was that in 2024, most people were dissatisfied with the economy, and they blamed Joe Biden for that. And inflation is something that's really hard for a politician and the party in power to run away from, and that really became an albatross for Democrats. And if you look back, Doug, at some of our surveys, we always ask the question about, do you feel like your personal financial circumstances are better, worse, or about the same as they were a year ago? The last time that over a sustained period of time that more people thought they were better off than worse off was in 2017 and 18 during Trump's first term. So I think when you look at his reelection in 2024, they saw an incumbent that they didn't like, that was they thought doing poorly on economic matters, and they remembered early in his term of office before COVID, when they felt things were generally better for them economically, and that helped him win in 2024. But so, when he won election, he was viewed as the guy that could fix the economy. The problem that he has right now is that his numbers on the economy have gone negative. And, I think this is going to be the central the question of the midterms, really, is will people feel better about their personal economic circumstances or worse? It really doesn't. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act will be more or less important, but probably not as important as people's assessments of their own personal financial circumstances.
We are talking with Professor Burwood Yost from Franklin and Marshall College, director of the Franklin Marshall Poll, but also, of course, a professor, senior adjunct research instructor of government and director of the Floyd Institute for Public Policy Analysis. In politics, what goes around comes around. In 1980, now, good heavens, is 45 years ago, and most people who were around then can still hear the ads from the Reagan campaign saying, "Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago?" And those exact same lines. He said it. His commercials said it. His surrogate said it. And the same things are being said now and will be said, for the foreseeable future, that comparing now to 4 years ago. And generally presidents when they move on, but in this case, Biden's still in the news, of course, talking about auto pen and things like that. The Democrats, some of them have voiced very bluntly, "Please, Mr. Biden, please retire." And
yes,
and he has chosen not to do that at times by being on The View and doing that. Now, people expect former presidents to give speeches at high rates of pay to, I don't know, conventions and maybe corporate gatherings. But a former president going on The View may not be unprecedented, but it's unusual in a situation like this. So overall, in our last couple of minutes here, Professor, the research that you've done and the recent polling on this topic, were you surprised by any of the outcome?
I don't know, because as the bill was kind of working its way through Congress, there were lots of polls conducted that suggested elements of it were unpopular. I think if you want proof that about the concerns that people have about the Medicaid provisions in this bill, you don't have to look any farther than Josh Hawley, a senator who voted for it, who has now introduced legislation to change some of those conditions related to Medicaid. So I'm not really surprised that this is, controversial and perhaps a bit underwater. But I also think that, the Republicans have perhaps a real difficult messaging problem, because where these cuts in Medicaid and SNAP enrollments are likely to hit are in counties that have seen the most growth in those programs over the past 20 years. And those also happen to be some of the most competitive counties. And so if all of a sudden you're not just affecting your base, but you're also cutting programs in those counties where, small margins matter, all of a sudden you've given those up in Pennsylvania. As you know, Doug, you only need to win 12 or 13 counties if they're the right ones in this state, right?
Right.
And it seems to me that Republicans have passed something that is going to hurt people in the most competitive places. And because those places are competitive, those people are less likely to give one party or the other the benefit of the doubt in their messaging. And so strategically, it's may not be a great benefit to them.
Yeah, the flip side of that, too, and I guess you could ask Kamala Harris this, all you have to do is lose 11 or 12 counties in Pennsylvania, and the state's not going to come through for you. I've quoted Jim Carville, the political consultant, many times when he described Pennsylvania back, my gosh, in the 80s as Philadelphia and Pittsburgh with Alabama in the middle. It's a very diverse state, to say the very least. The voting trends of Philadelphia could not be any more different than the voting trends in Franklin County, say, or Butler County, or you name it. It's such a unique state. We got an email here at radiosaltzman@gmail.com saying, the president's announcement yesterday at CMU, would that have changed this polling? Well, there's no way to know that, but that's the risk any pollster goes. You never know what's coming down the pike that might happen. Sometimes, and back in my days of working for the political consulting firm, we would have to stop a poll because something very big hit the news or hit the candidate we were working for, and you have to start over and you grit your teeth and say, okay, we've got to do this one again. We're not going to get the right outcome. And
as we said earlier, politics is dynamic. I mean, there's the message, and then there's the opponent's message, and so this is, a battle over how people read this bill. But remember, the AI and the energy conversation that was started yesterday at Carnegie Mellon, the president, that's a different story. And again, but it gets back to this notion of growth and the economy. And so I think that's important too. If you have these kinds of policies that produce growth and help our economy thrive, and you get credit for that, you're going to be better off as an incumbent party. And that's really, I think, important, and what people will be thinking about as voters over the next year and a half.
Yeah. Professor Burwood Yost, Franklin Marshall College poll director, we appreciate, as always, you're joining us. We like your analysis, enjoy your analysis, and appreciate your taking time to join us today. Thanks so much.
Yeah, always good to talk to you, Doug. Take care, buddy.
Talk to you soon. Thank you. Professor Burwood Yost joining us on the Afternoon Drive Show. Well, with the late edition coming up, we're going to be with you till 8 o'clock. We're going to take a break now. When we come back, we're going to wrap up hour number 2. That'll be followed by CBS World News Roundup late edition, followed by, I think we'll get an update on the weather forecast as well. But first, this is the Afternoon Drive Show on WMBS.
Would you like to win $1 million this summer? Get to Live Casino in Greensburg for our Summer Fun Collect and Win. Every Saturday from July 12th through August 30th, earn 500 tier credits for a chance to win tons of prizes, including $100,000 cash or $1 million cash dollars. Make Live Casino your Saturday destination this summer and you could become a millionaire. Only at Live Casino, Route 30 at Westmoreland Mall. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Chris Parker Jr., what's going on at Autoland?
The Hyundai Getaway sales event is back, and so is 0% financing. Get away with a fantastic deal on a great new Hyundai. Here at Autoland, we're lowering prices on the 25s before the 2026 Hyundais arrive, and offering above Blue Book value on all trades. All this, plus incredible incentives and financing offers from Hyundai.
I'm listening.
We still have a great selection of those 25 all-wheel drive SUVs with the 0%. The full-size luxury third row 2025 Palisade and the redesigned third row 2025 Santa Fe, both with an amazing 0% financing for 60 months. Or choose up to $3,500 off HMS bonus cash on select Santa Fe. Check out the fuel-efficient 2025 Hyundai Elantra SE with 2.99% financing or lease for $229 per month.
Plus Hyundai Owner Assurance, America's best warranty, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection with every new Hyundai purchased, and 3-year, 36,000-mile free complimentary maintenance. Autoland Hyundai, downtown Uniontown, or visit their website at AutolandHyundai.com.
You always pay less to drive the best at Autoland Hyundai.
439-2323. For 24-hour emergency service, call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323, 439-2323.
CareerLink is your one-stop resource for employment and training-related services. Visit CareerLink and you'll have access to many programs and agencies for assistance with economic, educational, and job-related needs. For more information on all the programs available to you, contact CareerLink at 724-434-JOBS. That's 724-434-JOBS.
Mountaintop Title and Notary can handle all of your motor vehicle and PennDOT needs, such as titles, plates, renewal, registrations, and all notary needs. Tina Nicholson of Mountaintop Title and Notary can also handle ATV and boat titles and also does income taxes. Hours are Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4:30, and appointments can be made for after hours and Saturdays. Mountaintop Title and Notary with a new location at 655 Nelson Road in Farmington, the only place you need to go for all title, notary, and tax work. Call Tina at 724-984-1514 for the most professional services around.
WMBS.
Only air some of our during the commercial break conversations. We just had a good one. Jerome Shell will be working the board coming up after the show tonight. Talking about the All-Star game last night and the auto. What do they call it? The auto strike calls. The auto. They could challenge a strike call, and they did a couple times last night. And
worked like a charm.
Yeah, it did. It really did. We were talking about the story. There was a player, I'll forget. My brother was telling me the story. The guy was batting the other day, and he adjusted his hat some goofy way, and the umpire thought he was tapping his head, which is what you do if you want to challenge a strike or ball call, and the umpire thought he was, dissing him, and he threw him out of the game. The guy's like, "Wait a minute, what are you doing? I never played under this." When he was in the minors, his minor league didn't even do that.
Yeah, so, unfortunately, once you've been thrown out.
Oh, you're out.
Yeah, there's no make goods.
Even if you can
there's
explain
no mulligans there.
No, yeah. And the guy was like, "What did I do?" He adjusted his hat or his helmet, I guess, while batting. Speaking of sort of baseball, we're going to check in after the 7 o'clock news from New York with Jacob Davey. He was the tournament director of the National Wiffle Ball League Association National Tournament this weekend over in Washington County. Free admission, folks. That'll be fun to take the kids to. We'll talk to him, and we'll talk to Rich Fitzgerald about yesterday's event at Carnegie Mellon University. And that'll wrap up our discussions on the summit, the Energy and Innovation Summit yesterday, hosted by U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, and of course, President Trump spoke at that as well. But first, CBS News from New York on your local station, WMBS, Uniontown.
President lashes out on Epstein case.
The president called this a Democratic hoax.
Fed chair to stay.
You need a very smart person for that job.
Farm workers on strike.
As of today, and it will run up until Friday.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Christopher Cruz. President Trump is trying to kill it, but the story just won't die. His MAGA supporters and some Republicans in the House and Senate want all of the files related to the late accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein released. Trump today said they're all being used by his opponents.
All it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
In an interview with CBS News today, former Vice President Mike Pence weighed in.
I think the time has come for the administration to release all of the files.
The Justice Department says Epstein didn't maintain a so-called client list, and no more Epstein-related files will be made public. Here's CBS's Scott McFarland.
For the Attorney General Pam Bondi, the FBI Director Kash Patel, and the Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino, they were three of the loudest voices calling for Epstein information release in 2024. Before they took office, before they assumed responsibility.
The president appears to be resigned to Jerome Powell remaining chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank.
So he's doing a lousy job, but no, I'm not talking about that. Fortunately, we get to make a change in the next, 8 months or so.
CBS's Weijia Zhang says as much as the president may want to fire Powell, he knows the market wouldn't like it.
It's not just about the legality of it. It's about the reaction from bond markets, which would absolutely spiral, and he does not want that economic mess right now.
Investigators say the fire Sunday night at a senior's home in Fall River, Massachusetts that killed 9 people was not set. Here's Fire Chief Jeffrey Bacon.
I'm comfortable saying that it's an accidental fire. There's nothing intentional about this fire.
Striking farm workers in California are making a series of tough demands. Here's CBS News correspondent Nydia Cavazos in Los Angeles.
They're demanding an immediate stop to the ice raids that we've been seeing across the fields in California. They're demanding immediate citizenship for farm workers so that they can continue to show up without fear of deportation. And they're also asking for a pathway to citizenship for undocumented workers across the board and across different industries, including the hospitality industry.
A lightly populated stretch of Alaska's southern coast is under a tsunami warning now after a magnitude 7.3 quake struck this afternoon. Officials in the Pacific Northwest are evaluating the potential threat. The Dow closed up 0.5%. NASDAQ ended the day up 0.25%. Now this.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, it's Mike Rohn. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of data for half the cost of the big guys, and I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But What I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Switch today and save 50% off your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword micro. Pure Talk, a wireless company that actually stands for something.
Senators are wrangling over changes to a plan to pull back $9 billion in congressionally approved spending.
The measure targets some $8 billion in funding cuts for foreign assistance programs and about $1 billion in cuts for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which supports public radio and TV stations, including NPR and PBS. Democratic Illinois Senator Dick Durbin warns.
The consequences of these recessions will prove to be devastating here and across the globe.
Some lawmakers have complained that there aren't enough details about what is in the package. Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
The House and Senate have until Friday to approve the president's rescission request. 20 Palestinians have been killed in a stampede at a food distribution center in Gaza. Details from reporter Linda Gradstein in Jerusalem.
The Hamas-run health ministry said some of the deaths were caused by tear gas fired by workers at the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation.
You're listening to the CBS World News Roundup.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-8841. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-550-8841. That's 800-550-8841.
Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Fire crews in Arizona are trying to control two major wildfires near the north rim of the Grand Canyon. Incident manager Jeff Stebbins.
The main concern is shifting erratic winds, which can make it really challenging for firefighters on the ground.
Misinformation and disinformation about vaccines continues to threaten the lives of infants and children. CBS's Alexander Tin on the Health Watch has results of a new CDC survey.
While between 30 and 40% of parents or moms-to-be said they were planning to accept all recommended shots, nearly half of moms-to-be said they were undecided about whether they would get all the recommended vaccines, and 1 in 10 parents with young children said they were planning to refuse all recommended vaccines.
The largest piece of Mars ever found on Earth sold today during an auction at Sotheby's in New York for just over $5 million, buyer unidentified. Scientists believe the 54-pound meteorite was blown off the surface of Mars by an asteroid strike. It was found in the Sahara Desert. Time of the round.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
A rare portrait of the Indian independence leader Mahatma Gandhi has sold at an auction in London.
I regard myself as a soldier, though a soldier of peace.
He became a global icon of peaceful resistance. His teachings have inspired millions, and most in India revere him as the father of their nation. Now, what's thought to be the only oil portrait Mahatma Gandhi himself sat for has sold at auction here for more than $200,000, far more than the pre-sale estimates. It was sold by the painter's family. The buyer is unknown. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
Police in India have found a Russian woman and her 2 young daughters living in isolation in a remote forest cave. They were discovered during a routine patrol at a popular tourist site. Officials say they overstayed their visas, and they're working on getting them back to Russia. That's the World News Roundup, late edition for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. I'm Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
This is your local station, WMBS. This Weather Watch is being brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant, Main Street, Uniontown. Maloney's Restaurant, serving authentic Italian cuisine in Uniontown since 1950. Call 724-437-2061 for weekly specials and to place your order. Overnight low is 72. Scattered showers and storms on Thursday with a high of 84. More scattered showers and storms Thursday night. The low will be 68. Cloudy on Friday with a high of 78. And we'll see showers and storms on both Saturday and Sunday. Highs both days, 81. This Weather Watch has been brought to you by Maloney's Restaurant. Let Maloney's cater your special occasion. Choose from their banquet menu and ask about their popular banquet room to make your next event special. Call 724-437-2061. This is your local station, 590 AM, 101.1 FM, WMBS.
Pizza King's in Connellsville is your go-to lunch and dinner spot with a full menu of mouth-watering pizzas and so much more. Using a deck oven helps our pizzas stay extra crisp. So if you haven't tried a slice lately, what are you waiting for? From our 50-slice King Carnivore to veggie pizzas and even pickle pizzas, Pizza King has the pie to match your taste. Pizza King's, 1046 Morrell Avenue in Connellsville. Call 724-626-8343 or visit pizzakingswithaz.com.
Warm weather is here, and with it, the incredible farmers markets of Fayette County, providing the freshest selection of seasonal produce and a whole lot more, including handcrafted soaps, candles, breads, sweet treats, jewelry, canned goods, and wine. Literally something for everyone. Put your health, wellness, and happiness first by visiting an area farmers market this week. Farmers markets include, but are not limited to, the Mountain Area Farmers Market, held on an assortment of Fridays throughout the summer from 4 to 8 p.m. at the Farmington Volunteer Fire Department. The Uniontown Farmers Market, held weekly on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to noon in Bailey Park. The Connellsville Farmers Market, held weekly on Thursday evenings from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Eastside Fire Station on Arch Street, and so much more. So, for more details, visit the WMBS Facebook page each Wednesday for a complete farmers market roundup. Make wellness a priority. Eat healthy and shop local. And make it a habit to visit the farmers market nearest you.
Tune in to WMBS Saturday mornings at 8:20 for Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, certified financial planner, investment advisory representative, syndicated columnist, and author, as he addresses such income issues as planning for retirement, future healthcare expenses, avoiding financial pitfalls, and much more. That's Your Financial Future with Gary Boatman, Saturday mornings at 8:20 right here on WMBS, where Gary Boatman welcomes your calls at 724-243-3075. That's 724-243-3075.
Welcome back to the late edition of the Afternoon Drive Show on your local station, WMBS Uniontown, 12 minutes after 7 o'clock. We're still showing 81 degrees up there, but I bet it's dropped from that. Let's go to the weather center here at WMBS. We're showing 80 degrees and cloudy, with rain expected to start in 10 minutes. I always like that, how they...
they got it nailed down.
Oh, yeah. They meteorology is somewhat of a bit of witchcraft, but nonetheless, so 100% chance of rain at 8 o'clock.
Although if it takes 11 minutes, somebody will be calling the weather center.
That's right, saying, hey, wait a minute, it didn't rain here. It started at 9:30. Yeah. And, of course, it's going to rain, 100% chance of rain at 8 o'clock as I'm leaving the studio. So that's usually how...
Right, exactly, because you didn't wear a hat.
That's right, no hat. And my hair doesn't get that wet anyways, for heaven's sakes, yeah. for those of you watching on Facebook Live. Welcome back, by the way. We're with you till 8 o'clock tonight. Of course, no Pirate baseball tonight. They are off tomorrow, too. Now they have 4 days off.
So they won't lose.
They won't lose. You're right. They won't lose. But somebody will win coming up this weekend, of course. I love to get interviews like this. I'm driving down Interstate 70 today on the way to the studio here for the show, and I see a billboard. And it talked about the National Wiffle Ball League Association National Tournament. I'm like, well, there's an idea for a guest. And I had an open slot today. So, of course, I properly pulled over to the side of the road before looking at my phone. Of course, I would never, look on the internet while driving. I would never do that.
No.
And was lucky enough to track down the tournament director. You know, if you're the tournament director of the National Wiffle Ball League Association National Championship, you got to be a cool guy. I mean, you're not stodgy, you're not boring. You got to be rather interesting, I would think.
You got to at least be able to throw some curves.
Throw some curves. Oh, you can throw a great curve with a wiffle ball. Joining us right now to talk about the tournament this weekend, right next door, of course, in Washington County, tournament director Jacob Davey. Jacob, thanks so much for joining us. I called you as I was driving to the studio today, tracked you down, and it's good to have you on. First, I have to ask, how does one become the tournament director for wiffle ball?
Doug, thanks for having me on.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, and it was really a good thing that I answered that phone call today.
Yeah, it worked out well. Thank you.
Get some publicity. Yeah,
absolutely.
But anyway, my route there was, started as a player back in 2014. We started a league around here in Cannonsburg, PA. And then as we, grew up and started to try and take it more and more serious, we found this national tournament back in 2017, started going to it. Our actual team from the local league here in Cannonsburg won it in 2018. And then ever since, we just got the itch and stayed involved. And through my work and in my full-time job at Duquesne University, I work in the athletic department there. So that mixed with my passion for wiffle ball kind of culminated in me being part of the committee. And then I am the tournament director when it comes here to Washington County area.
And of course, we're not just talking shabbiness here. The championship is on ESPN Plus. This is not like playing on a closed circuit local channel or one of those cable. This is big time stuff, and anything like this. Of course, you can click on the website here to book team travel with Hotel Planner for discounted rates, and so we're having even to the point of an economic impact of people coming into this region to play in this tournament. So it's good all around. And I did not know you worked at Duquesne University. Been there a lot over the years. My 4 daughters, one went to Duquesne, and we spent a lot of time down there watching basketball and football and the rest of the sports, and took my daughters there all the time to see women's basketball especially. So well acquainted with Duquesne sports. But yeah, this is sort of fascinating. If you take a look, of course, at the tournaments right here in the Pittsburgh region this year, next year, St. Louis, then back in Pittsburgh for 27 and 29, as I'm looking at your website here. So our region here has a hold on this thing, doesn't it?
Correct, yeah. From my leadership on the committee, we were able to, work away where we're kind of that hub site every other year, and then as we cater to, Midwest or East Coast teams, we'll kind of go out their way every other year. And then Pittsburgh's a nice little meeting point because we have hotbeds up in the Northeast, hotbeds in the Midwest for this competitive wiffle ball stuff. So Pittsburgh's a nice area, easy travel for all parties.
Well, it sounds like you need a local radio station to broadcast it. And if you already have one, don't mention it because we don't want to mention another radio station. But we'll look into that in the future. Might be a little tough to throw that together this weekend.
Our play-by-play guy would jump at this.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do play-by-play.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, we'd go to the Pirate games all the time, and 5 of us would sit in the stands and call the entire game. I'm sure the people around us were ready to wring our necks, 5 people calling a game. But yeah, this national tournament, give us the details of it, where folks can get information, where it's going to be played, and I'm sure it's very high prices to get into these games. It's free admission, isn't it?
It is. It's all free admission this year. You mentioned the economic impact that we're having a little bit there. We partnered with Visit Washington County, so they're one of our presenting sponsors, and then we brought Sheets on this year as the title sponsor. It's their first year of a multi-year deal, so trying to grow it as big as we can and make it a real community experience for the local area to come out, have some fun, take in some wiffle ball, and then we have some side games with our sponsors that kids can take part in, and then also for our traveling teams, make it a true, national championship experience versus just another tournament. But more information, people can find it nwlatournament.com on the website. All our social medias are at NWLA Tournament. That has all the information. But the games will take place July 19th and 20th at North Shebane Park in Cannonsburg. And then games start at 8 a.m. each day. We'll have 40 to 50 games throughout pool play in the early bracket rounds all day Saturday, and then pick back up Sunday morning at 8 a.m., culminating in a 6 p.m. Championship game on ESPN+.
Playing wiffle ball at 8 a.m. on a Sunday. That requires
nothing better, right?
Maybe don't party too much the night before. Yeah, that's right. We don't want that. NWLA, National Wiffle Ball League Association. I'm guessing I'm getting that right? And
that's correct. Yeah.
And wiffle ball, I guess, is not one of those terms. We were just talking about that off the air earlier. I guess wiffle ball is not a. What am I looking for here?
It's not a generic.
It's a generic term, right? Wiffle ball is. It's not like pickleball or frisbee or something. You can use that term, wiffle ball. And we were talking earlier, Jerome Shell, one of our producers, and Bill and myself. What type of bats do they use in this tournament? Are they the big fat ones little kids use, or are these real thin yellow ones we're used to?
Yeah, we use so wiffle is actually a brand name.
Oh, it is a brand name. Oh, then I stand corrected. What a shock. I've made a mistake, Bill. Mark the time.
I'll mark that down.
Yeah, mark that down.
Yeah.
Doug made a mistake.
Yeah, so wiffle is a brand name. We use the official wiffle ball equipment. So that's the holes on one side with the 8 oblong holes on the top as the ball, and then the bat is the official yellow wiffle ball bat, which is, the ones you see in all the convenience stores around.
Yeah, of course. I was mentioned earlier, our producer, Jerome Shell, talked, you could throw that wiffle ball behind somebody and it will curve over the plate. It's a classic how you can make those wiffle balls curve. I can't make a baseball curve a quarter of an inch. But it must be a lot of fun. Of course, these are adult games. I should point that out. But there's opportunities for kids, too, you said, right?
Yeah. So the tournament's all, adults, and they're representatives of their local leagues back home. So, as the National Wiffle League Association, we bring leagues together where they can send one all-star team out to this national championship to qualify, and then we take 16 into the national championship tournament. But then also throughout the weekend, we'll have plenty of kid stuff, especially before our championship game, trying to get a crowd out there for our ESPN Plus game. So Sunday at 4 o'clock, weather permitting, we'll have a free fan fest presented by the Pittsburgh Pirates. So we'll be giving away a Jared Triolo figurine, a couple handful of Pirates tickets to some winners of kids skills competitions. Face painting, Kona Ice will be there, all to prepare for that national championship game, and it's all free admission. Happy to have everyone out, and all the information's at nwlatournament.com.
Well, and I'm glad you didn't give away an Adam Frazier bobblehead since the park just traded him today.
I believe Triolo just got sent down too. So,
that's okay. That's all right. That's he's still in the still in the system. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word there.
Yeah,
so I guess I'm looking at last year's winners here, and you can see they're a very serious team. The 2024 champions were the Circle City Wiffle Ball Skull Crushers. You got to like a name like that. That would
heck of a logo, I imagine.
Yeah, that would be a cool one. I'm not quite sure about the next one. I don't even know if I can say it on the air. Well, I guess the Home Run League Dong Show. We'll leave it at that. Yeah, and we'll move on. But you've got teams here coming from Kalamazoo. I'm one of the rare people who've actually been to Kalamazoo. I've been in Kalamazoo. But, of course, Minnesota and my teams from all over coming in to play wiffle ball. Of course, Washington County is also known as the home of the Pony League World Series as well. And how about Sheets? They've got Sheets logos on the Pirates uniform, and now they're the title sponsor for the National Wiffle Ball League Association as well. So that's terrific. How long has the tournament been going? I'm looking here posts all the way back to 2012, or was it even before that?
Yeah, so this will be our 14th year. hosting the national championship tournament. Next year will be our 15th anniversary out in St. Louis. It's really grown since that start. It started in, I think it was a side yard to a church in Columbus, Ohio. Brought some 8 teams out there, and it's grown to where we have a consistent 16-team basis at the national tournament, and we're broadcasting on ESPN Plus and streaming all of our 50 other games on YouTube.
Not bad. Not a bad gig, let me tell you. And I'm sure you could buy merchandise with the logo on it, NWLA as well. And the fact that ESPN's covering us, that's terrific. I've seen horseshoes on ESPN Plus, but I think I'd rather see wiffle ball, frankly, than horseshoes. No offense to the horseshoe champions. I love to throw horseshoes at picnics. It doesn't do much for TV, I don't think. But this wiffle ball thing would be very cool. And I'm driving along, and again, congratulations, your billboard worked. It caught my attention as I was driving along. And let's hope you get a good turnout. Again, give us the background, the website, when folks should show up. There's no charge to get in, so it's not like you have to get a weekend pass, correct?
Right. Yeah, no charge to get in. The schedules are all posted at NWLAtournament.com. We have a couple local teams. The Whiff is Life League, which is the local league that I run. We started back when I was in high school. But that's out of Cannonsburg area, so we have a group of guys from, Washington County area representing our league that'll compete that weekend, and then also a team from the South Hills area. They play in Castle Shannon on a consistent basis. So they're representing the local area. Hopefully they do well, but all the game information's on NWLAtournament.com. Free admission all weekend. You can come check it out for 10 minutes, come back. There's no re-entry fee, nothing, all free. And then the Kids Fest, or Fan Fest, presented by the Pittsburgh Pirates, starts Sunday at 4, leading into our championship game at 6. So we'll have a bunch of giveaways that Sunday at 4, leading into the championship from the Pirates. You can win tickets. And then we'll also be giving away some, you mentioned the Pony League World Series tickets. We'll be giving away some youth passes to the Pony League World Series there.
So you have the tournament director also has his own team. Those of us in the media, we're always looking for a second story. Years ago, Bud Selig owned a team. Then he became commissioner of baseball, and he gave the team to his daughter or something. I forget how that worked. There
was a wall of separation.
Yeah, a wall of separation. Yeah, daughter and dad never talked about baseball. But we're always looking for that second story, a little intrigue in there. And but that's terrific. Congratulations, and go Dukes. You got to do a shout out to the Dukes, and
of course.
And no doubt at some point Duquesne will have a softball, at least a club. I bet you do now. I'm sure kids are playing wiffle ball at Duke.
Yeah, I'll have to get that started up here
at Duquesne, and then the whole thing will start. NIL and all that, and there'll be holdouts. Wanting more money.
Yeah.
Then you really know you've made it. When you have a lockout or something, then you've made the big time. Hey,
yeah, I would like to be just focus on playing, but you got to run the nice tournament too. Luckily, we're able to give experience with some local college kids in sports management, and communications, and stuff. So it's a good thing to bring to the area for everyone involved.
It was several years ago, but I remember lecturing at one of the classes at Duquesne University, the sports management classes. I was a lobbyist at the time, and I was talking about how important lobbying is for baseball teams, believe it or not, the ownership, stadiums, that sort of thing. I remember lecturing back in the day to Steve Greenberg's class, I think, that he was teaching back in those days. Jacob Davey, tournament director of the National Wiffle Ball League Association National Tournament. Make sure you check out their website, as he mentioned, NWLAtournament.com. Hey, thanks so much for joining us, Jacob. This has been fun.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Good luck
hope
this
to see
weekend.
everyone out there.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wiffle Ball on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, I wonder what Paul Skeens can do with a wiffle
ball. Good heavens! Yeah, how fast is the fastest wiffle ball ever thrown? I don't know. Now,
I'm sure there's a Guinness record in there somewhere.
Oh, somewhere. Okay, here we. This is part of fun. Here I am typing into the computer fastest wiffle ball
on record.
Pitch on record.
By the way, it's spelled WIFFLE.
Right.
I thought it was WHI.
Oh, okay.
Because the idea was you were supposed to, a father came up with the wiffle ball because he wanted to teach his son how to throw a curveball.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out.
Worked out. Okay, this is according to artificial intelligence. It's on the internet, so it has to be right.
Yeah.
The fastest recorded wiffle ball pitch thrown by Sean Steffi, also known as Wiffle Boy.
Yeah.
This impressive feat was achieved by using...
Wasn't that in the master of the Marvel Comics universe?
I think he is Wiffle Boy.
Yeah.
Right up there with Aquaman and Rubberman.
And Thor, yeah.
Yeah, the impressive feat was achieved by using a combination of techniques and practice, including studying YouTube videos and experiencing with different grips and throws 97 miles an hour. Now, I would think maybe a foot out of his hand, but I would think it slows down a lot.
Yeah.
They always talk about how fast...
the exit velocity.
Exactly. 97 miles per hour is the record. There's a video of this kid, Wiffle Boy, throwing it. They always say the shuttlecocks, which is a funny name for the birdie and badminton, has an incredible amount of speed right away, but then, of course, drops significantly. So here he is.
Although if you fire one up high and it hits you on the head, it's going to hurt.
It's going to hurt. Sean Steffi, 97 mile per hour wiffle ball. And he's wearing a T-shirt here that says Mounties baseball. I don't know where the Mounties are. I'm sure there's a lot of teams across the country called the Mounties. But
But in Canada, up there.
You suppose. Yeah, I guess the Mounties. CBS News coming up in just a couple of minutes. And then we're going to check in. We've been talking about this quite a bit, and we're going to wrap up our show today talking to Rich Fitzgerald, the former director. I'm going to get this right. I'll stop right now and start over. Rich Fitzgerald, executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, former Allegheny County executive. He was at the event yesterday at Carnegie Mellon University. Of course, Rich, a longtime Democratic office holder. Yesterday, we talked to longtime Republican fundraiser and businessman Dick Jewell. So we're going to get both sides of the aisle, their opinion of the inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit at CMU yesterday. Which brought President Trump into town, and I'm sure made traffic in the Oakland area of the city a mess. Of course, they shut down everything when the president comes through. And whether you like whichever president has to be serving in office, it is sort of interesting to see a motorcade go by.
Oh, yeah.
Or if you can ever get close enough to see Air Force One, which is
it's a 747.
It's massive. It is just so big you can't get the sense of how big it is.
I used to live in Frederick, and so we'd see the cars going up to Camp David
all the time. Yeah. I'm Doug Saltzman. That is Bill Madden over there. And, of course, Jerome Schell will be working the board after the show's over tonight. But first, let's head to CBS News for the news brief.
CBS News Brief. President Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence tells CBS News the administration needs to take steps to satisfy the demands of his MAGA base on the Epstein case.
I know of no reason why this administration, once the victims' names are protected, should not release all the files on Jeffrey Epstein.
It appears Trump will not fire Fed Chair Jerome Powell. From the White House, CBS's Weijia Zhang.
He only has a few months left anyway, so the president has reportedly already started looking at other people, including his Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, to fill that role.
Trump says Powell hasn't lowered interest rates fast enough. About 50 undocumented farm workers in Los Angeles say they'll stay off the job for 3 days. They're demanding an end to ICE raids and deportations. Here's details from CBS's Nydia Cavazos.
They're also hoping that other people across the country will join their movement by refraining from purchasing produce.
CBS News Brief. I'm Christopher Cruz.
Zen's Antiques and Home Decor, part of the Cinder Shack family of vendors, where you can find both antique and new furniture, collectibles, housewares, gift items, including jewelry and candles, and so much more. Follow Zen's Antiques and Home Decor on Facebook for new items and information on upcoming events. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor in Building 2 at 3391 National Pike in Farmington. Zen's Antiques and Home Decor.
Blooming into a sun-filled season, Our Lady's Accessory Shop is blossoming with something for everyone, including yourself. Strap, located at 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown. Our handbags are drenched in sun-kissed colors, fun fashion jewelry, and summer and beach-inspired styles. Our beauty bar is overflowing with Strap's signature lip gloss and Palladio brand makeup and products. And all new at Strap, our Starstruck candle collection is now in stock, and they are out of this world. We have the latest in Wrangler bags, sunflower print totes, and mini bags, the cutest summer footwear, including sandals and flip-flops, free gift wrapping, and pretty packaging. Gift certificates available. Strap, 34 South Street in downtown Uniontown, 724-557-6184. You're sure to adore us, and you'll love our prices.
Thanks to everyone who voted in the 2025 Best in Fayette contest. We loved seeing all the votes flood in for our local businesses, and we can't wait to see who you voted as the best in Fayette this year. Stay tuned. Results will be announced Tuesday, October 14th. 2024 Best in Fayette books are still available while supplies last and can be picked up at select locations for free, such as WMBS Radio, Shop and Save, Walnut Hill, Armstrong and Connellsville, Bittersweet Cafe in Farmington, and the Casino in Nemacolin. For more information, visit bestinfayette.com.
Your health is more than just how you feel today. It's about staying well for the years ahead. At WVU Medicine Uniontown Hospital Primary Care, we're here to help you manage your health with regular checkups, screenings, and care that's tailored to you. With locations in Uniontown, Carmichaels, Connellsville, and Scottdale, it's easy to find care close to home. Visit wvumedicine.org/Uniontown today to find the primary care provider who is right for you.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Sleep well tonight. Try out a new mattress from Route 21 Furniture with a large selection of mattresses, all sizes and comfort levels, with great prices, free local delivery and setup, and financing options. Route 21 Furniture. Open weekdays 9 to 5, Saturday 10 to 5, Sunday noon to 4. 724-737-2222 or Route21Furniture.com.
Route 21 Furniture, take the road to your perfect home.
Attention, active and retired coal miners. Have you been screened for black lung? Here at the Black Lung Clinic at Centerville Clinics, we offer yearly screenings, diagnosis, education, and treatment options to help you live a fuller, healthier life. We provide care regardless of your ability to pay. Call Centerville Clinics today at 724-632-6801. Do it today.
WMBS.
Jethro Tull, is that right? Is that what's bringing us out of the break?
That is Jethro Tull.
Jethro Tull.
Living in the past.
Saw him many years ago at the Stanley Theater.
Okay, Jethro Tull is not a him.
I know, he's not a person. You're
It's
right.
a
Them.
group.
It's a group. You're right.
It's like Pablo Cruz.
Yeah, I think it's one of those concerts I went to when I was in high school that my parents told me not to go, and I said I was going to a sleepover at a friend's house. But
Right, and you couldn't remember either one if it happened.
there's still the Stanley Theater in downtown Pittsburgh. Jethro Tull, who should be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. They should be in the Rock Hall of
Are they
Fame.
not in the
They're
Rock-
not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I mean, but Bill Withers is.
Bill Withers is, and the Queen of Disco, Donna Summers is.
Donna
Yeah,
Summers
but not Jethro Tull.
Right.
Well, let's work on that.
I think Black Eyed Peas are in too, aren't they?
I'm
Yeah.
guessing they probably are. Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. If you were listening to news on this station or any station, or frankly, it made national news regularly yesterday and today. The inaugural Energy and Innovation Summit at Carnegie Mellon University yesterday, hosted by U.S. Senator Dave McCormick, with enough billionaires in one room, I think, to start a very large country. We've talked to folks on both sides of the aisle about the event yesterday, and joining us right now to talk about the event yesterday at CMU, the executive director of the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, which, of course, is the metropolitan planning organization for our region, former county executive Rich Fitzgerald. Rich, I never know what to call you. Once you're a senator always, and a coach. Do I still call you Executive Rich or Executive? I have a feeling you're going to say, call me Rich.
Whatever you feel comfortable calling. I guess I'll be emeritus at this point. But it was an exciting day yesterday. Having been in this business for a number of decades, I can't think of anything in our region that ever had that kind of impact or have the future impact that we think this is going to do. When you talk about the kind of billions, 90-some billion dollars worth of investment in the Commonwealth. Much of it, of course, is going to happen in southwestern Pennsylvania because of our natural gas and CMU and our water and et cetera, et cetera. It was exciting to be there, and you got to give Senator Dave McCormick a great deal of credit. You know, he's only been in the Senate 6 months.
Yeah.
To put something like this together is really something.
Yeah, I worked, as you know, for Senator Arlen Specter. I was with him for parts of all 5 of his terms, director of his office in Pittsburgh. I don't ever recall us coming even close to an event like this. And Specter was in 30 years. This was like nothing most people had ever seen. I joked earlier, I have trouble getting my 4 daughters together in the same place. But I guess when the president calls you, and I think half his cabinet was there, and technology CEOs from all over, to have them all in one place at the same time and in southwestern PA is quite a feather in this region's cap, is it not?
It really is. And again, you know, there's a lot of national, competitive, international competition, you know, with our friends across the globe, and we're in a competition. And, you know, the fact that southwestern Pennsylvania has the resources, both intellectual and physical, natural resources, to be as competitive as any place in the world, having the most natural gas right under our feet with Marcellus Shale, having the #1 artificial intelligence university with Carnegie Mellon. And these things don't just happen. These things happen because of your former boss putting money into the research and development that happened at Carnegie Mellon University 20, 30, 40 years ago around artificial intelligence. And I think of people like Mike Doyle, Jack Murtha, Arlen Specter, who supported our great research universities, and now some of those seeds that they planted many, many years ago are starting to bear fruit.
Yeah, when you think of something like the combination between Pitt and CMU of the supercomputing center, which at the time was mind-boggling, and still is, frankly, or the Department of Defense's facility out there, the Software Engineering Institute, which was so far ahead of its time. And most people would think something like that would have ended up at MIT or Silicon Valley, but right in Oakland, right here in southwestern PA. Those were so far ahead of time. We're talking, when did Software Engineering Institute? My gosh, was that the 80s? When that came in, and it's still booming out there in the Oakland neighborhood. And to have something like this come along, I was talking to somebody. They said they don't remember that many cabinet secretaries in one room outside the cabinet room. Perhaps
you're absolutely right. I mean, to have commerce and treasury, two of the biggest when it comes to the economic side. You're really talking about the firepower. And again, what we discovered 15 years ago or so, maybe a little longer than that, the Marcellus Shale. Knowing that the energy needs to generate AI that we all love with our phones. Our phones can do everything from sports scores to the stock scores to the market to weather reports to you name it. But that power needs a lot of electrical energy. And what companies are looking for is how can I get it? How can I get it? Economically, i.e., cheap, and make that work. And then when we discovered the largest natural gas resources that many years ago, who knew that this was going to really be this great benefit? And here we are in a place where we've built the infrastructure of this country, a century ago, and now we're going to do it again when it comes to artificial intelligence.
Yeah, earlier we were talking with CBS News reporter Linda Kenyon, who flew in with the president, covered the event yesterday. And I was mentioning, you don't think of, you think back to the days of electric arc furnaces on the south side, J&L Steel, and then LTV. Of course, you expect them to need a lot of power. But you don't think of computers and AI needing a lot of power. But when you think about Microsoft, and Constellation Energy is investing over $1.5 billion to reopen unit number 2 at 3 Mile Island. For instance, I was saying you could have won $1 million bet about 10 years ago that 3 Mile Island would never reopen. And it is going to, because Microsoft needs the power. And you just don't think of computers needing power like that. But again, that gives you some idea of how little I know, I suppose.
Well, individually it doesn't, but collectively, when you have millions and millions of them, it really does. And it also requires a lot of steel. Steel's the number one component of a data center. You need so much of it, and you need a lot of water for cooling. You can't do this in the Southwest. Places like Arizona and New Mexico, they just don't have the water to capacity to do that. So you need the energy, i.e. gas. You need the intellectual power. You need the water. All the things that we have here, plus an industrial grid that was built out years ago that now can be tapped into again, electrical grid, and all the components that are here with the places like Westinghouse. The announcement yesterday that Westinghouse was going to, 15,000 jobs and the billions of dollars of investment there. I think of, turning the old coal-fired power plant of Bruce Mansfield, the shipping port, into, again, back $3.5 billion or $3.2 billion, 15,000 jobs. We heard about Homer City in Indiana County, a little over a month ago. So these investments in these towns that were really, not doing so well when these plants closed, now have a chance to be revitalized and provide a lot of jobs for our young people moving forward.
Yeah, I think many years ago I was the lobbyist for the Pittsburgh Chamber of Commerce, and I was testifying, as I did frequently, the one time before the Public Utility Commission, about reopening a power plant and how important that was, because they were going to send the power to York County, and that got shut down at the time. Now I'm sure these companies wish that was there. And I remember testifying before that, before the PUC, getting booed by the audience. They actually put a security person behind me. Their boos and screaming were so loud, and I was advocating to reopen that power plant at the time, which is no longer there, sadly. But again, it's just this need for power. I think back in the day when J&L shut down, and the amount of power that Duquesne Light lost, the generation they were putting into those plants, who would know back then we'd need it back? But here's that opportunity. And you're right. You talk about Senator McCormick. He got sworn in January. This is not a 5-term U.S. senator. But being the smart politician he took none of the credit, and he said it was his wife's idea to hold this summit. So that's the ultimate politician, I suppose. Deflect credit and give it to your wife, which is a pretty smart move. Dina Powell, who of course served in administrations over the years, as well. When you take a look at the companies though that were there, Blackstone, Bridgewater, SoftBank, Amazon, ExxonMobil, good heavens, and of course the local companies as well, and that are in the industry. It really points out the fascinating place that CMU is. Not a real big school, but you're talking about robotics and AI innovation, and also one of the great performing arts schools in America. CMU is a fascinating place, isn't it?
It really is. And, as somebody who went there many, many years ago and an alumni there, when I went to school there in the late 70s, early 80s, it was more of a regional school. People from Uniontown or Butler or, within Allegheny County were going there. It is now an international monster when it comes to the greatness of the things it has done. And you think about, again, our industrial heritage, some guy named Andrew Carnegie that started this in 1900 as a technical school to kind of train metallurgists and people to, improve the steel-making capabilities. And then, of course, the financial giant of Mellon came together in the 60s, Carnegie Mellon University, and it has turned out Nobel laureates, as you mentioned, Broadway Tony performers in the arts, obviously the beginning of robotics and the autonomous vehicles that we're starting to see deployed right now across the country, over, in Texas with a company like Aurora. And then again, the artificial intelligence that's coming about, being the #1 university in the country. It's really the perfect synergy of intellectual power coming out of CMU, and then of course the natural resources and the great work ethic and the energy, natural resources that we have here in southwestern Pennsylvania. Really, what it does, it points to a very bright future for young people. And think about where we were back in the 80s. It's almost inconceivable to think where we were and where we are right now.
Yeah, Carnegie, being the planner he was, hoped that his university would make it. Back then it was called a college. So he built the buildings at the time so they could be used for manufacturing if need be. If that school didn't make it, he built those buildings that way. And if you look at some of those buildings, they are definitely designed to be assembly plants and assembly lines.
That's exactly right. They're built on a little bit of a ramp.
Oh yeah,
so that you could send the steel or whatever you were making down the hallway, and that was the hallway we walked, and those are the hallway that they're developing, again, the robotics and the next generation of things that are happening. And, the spin-off, and, when I was county executive, the amount of companies and the amount of economic growth that came out of both Pitt and CMU was just startling. Pitt more on the life science end of things, and obviously CMU on the software engineering and the robotics and AI side. But it's just, we're so fortunate that these great universities are right here in the heart of our region.
Yeah, I did not know you were a CMU alum. I went to CMU, but it was for frat parties, frankly, and I went to Penn State myself. But I would tell people I went to CMU, but wouldn't give all the details of it. Of course, my friend Chuck went there, much smarter than me, ended up being an attorney and a judge. But yeah, when you think about the size of that school and the impact it has, it's not part of the Ivy League. But there's a lot of Ivy League schools that wish they were doing what CMU is doing.
Absolutely, yes. And the international reputation that it does have, particularly in those industries that we talked about, is really something. And it continues to grow. And I give President Chahanian and back before him, Jerry Cohen, when Jerry Cohen and Mark Nordenberg kind of came together at Pitt and CMU to really become economic drivers for this region. They certainly cared about their universities and their institutions, but they were also bigger in their broad thinking about the whole region and how economics could be generated from those universities. And you think about eds and meds and really what started to revitalize this region. It really came out of those universities.
Yeah, and naturally, universities compete when it comes to sports and maybe for funding for projects. But it's good to see these universities come together so often as partners, and they complement each other. I remember I was at an event and welcoming people. I was outside at Robert Morris University. I don't know what I was thinking. It was a rainy day. I grabbed a windbreaker at home, and it happened to say Duquesne University on it. I realized I'm at Robert Morris. And the president of the university walked up and said, "You got the wrong coat on, but that's a good school, too." That was, it was that sort of a approach to it in this region. And
I can tell you yesterday at that event, as I was there, I was sitting near the chancellor of the University of Pittsburgh, Joan Gable. Ken Gormley, the president of Duquesne University, was also there. So the collaboration and support that, yes, it was at CMU yesterday, but the other universities' presidents and their staffs were all part of, being supportive of what goes on in this region. And I've watched them work together on many, many projects over the years, and they are a very collaborative group.
And the governor was part of the event too, correct, Governor Shapiro?
He was, very much so. And it was very interesting to watch. One of the panel discussions was between Governor Shapiro and Senator McCormick. And you can tell there's a real partnership between the two of them. One being the highest-ranking Republican in the state, the other one being the highest-ranking Democrat in the state, working together in collaboration of what's good for the Commonwealth. The big announcement they made few weeks ago with Amazon, with a $20 billion investment at 3 different sites throughout the Commonwealth. You can see them working together, setting aside probably some philosophical differences that, the two parties have. But when it comes to things like jobs and infrastructure and quality of life and growth, they're coming together.
Right. I mean, politicians fight, and sadly, that's what you see all the time on the news, or you see the negative ads and campaigns. But here's an example of Governor Shapiro showing up at an event that later the President of the United States was at. And you talk about polar opposites. But this idea of we're not always fighting, but we work together sometimes, we being the collective body politic. And, things can get done, and there's not always the fighting that's seen so much. Sadly, that scares people away from even getting involved in borough council or school board because they think everything is such a huge battle all the time. Yeah, there are battles there, but maybe sometimes we show the glimpses of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill having a beer at the White House after 5 o'clock. I guess
getting things done. Yep.
I guess that can still happen. And these announcements lately with the new technology of AI and the investments by Nippon and the U.S. Steel, good heavens, these are miraculous opportunities for this region, like maybe never seen before. I don't know. Can anything top announcements of $90 billion worth of investments in Pennsylvania?
Not in my lifetime. And again, I think you probably have to go back to the turn of the 1900 when U.S. Steel and Carnegie and those folks came together with Frick and Westinghouse, and that industrial age that kicked off 130, 140 years ago. Nothing since then, quite frankly. And this really, the opportunity we have over the next couple of decades to really do something transformational for our economy and for this region really gives you hope for where our future is going.
Yeah, when you think in 1901, Andrew Carnegie sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan. 1901, $480 million. I couldn't even imagine how much money that is nowadays. And apparently J.P. Morgan wrote a personal check to Andrew Carnegie for I'm not that liquid, frankly, to be able to write a check in 1901.
I think there were some folks there at that thing yesterday that could have done that.
I think they could have.
Tells you a lot.
Yeah,
it tells you a lot about the firepower. We know the government side of firepower with the president, the senator, the governor, and the cabinet members. On the corporate side and on the private equity side, wow, there were also some very, very, very big players in that game.
I was talking to somebody yesterday said he hadn't seen that many billionaires in one place since the Duquesne Club, maybe back at one point in the day. And again, amazing event yesterday, and an example of your being there and Governor Shapiro being there and your background in Democratic politics and Dave McCormick and President Trump. It shows things can get done. And I would hope some folks, especially younger people, would look at that and say, wow, things can get done. That both sides of the aisle can come together and provide an opportunity. So when people come to CMU or Pitt, or I don't care if it's Carlo or Point Park or Duquesne, let's hope they stay. You've got a big family. I have 4 daughters. They're all staying local, which is terrific. And maybe this will convince people that politicians can work together. It's not.
I think that's exactly right. We wear our black and gold more than we wear our red and our blue.
Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah. Now that's a T-shirt. You better get that one trademarked. I think that's a good one, man. Get that one. Again, Rich Fitzgerald, we've had you on in the past, of course, talking about the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, which you're the director of. And we frequently have Commissioner Vince Facilities on our show, who will be chairman of your organization next year, correct?
Yeah, 6 more months. At the turn of the year in January, Commissioner Facilities will be the chair of the 10-county region, and he'll be responsible for a lot of economic infrastructure money, transportation dollars, et cetera, broadband, and a lot of this data center and AI stuff will be coming under Commissioner Facilities' commission.
Yeah, it's interesting. It takes a lot of work. The very first meeting I ever went to when I went to work for Senator Arlen Specter in 1986, right out of college, was to meet with a group called the Montfayette Expressway Association because they wanted to put this highway in. It's there, and they're still expanding it.
We're still building it. We're still adding to it. That's exactly right. Yes.
These things just take time, unfortunately. So,
yep.
All right. Hey, Rich Fitzgerald, thanks so much. We like having you on the show. Hope you enjoyed it.
All right, Doug.
Look forward to having you back soon.
Keep moving forward. Thanks,
right.
man. Have a good night. Thanks.
We're just about done with the Afternoon Drive Show, the late edition here coming up. America's best music, America's favorite music, America's best music. I'll get it. I have to look at the slogan over there. And, of course, Jerome Shell will be on the board for that. And I'm Doug Saltzman. That's Bill Madden. Stick around. We'll wrap it up in a moment.
When you are looking to make some extra cash for your aluminum cans, visit Cherokee Recycling, where aluminum can is king. Cherokee Recycling is open Monday through Friday 9 till 5 and Saturdays 8 till 12 noon, closed Sundays and holidays. Give Marcus or Rags a call today at 724-439-3228 for Cherokee Recycling, where recycling makes the most sense.
439-2323 for 24-hour emergency service. Call us when you need. We're Fayette's Heating and Air Conditioning, your service company.
When it's sweltering outside, you'll be cool inside with central air conditioning from Bryant, the people that know cool. And it's easy to have a central air conditioning system installed in your home. Simply call on your Bryant dealer, Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, located near the Laurel Mall on Route 119, north of Uniontown. The phone number is 439-2323. Let Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning rescue you from the sticky, humid summer weather. Remember that number for Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, your Bryant dealer, 439-2323.
Call Fayette Heating and Air Conditioning, 439-2323, 439-2323.
This is Attorney Joe Fishko with an important announcement. On June 1, I joined the Quattrini Law Group. We are keeping my Uniontown and Somerset offices. The new law firm will be answering my phone, and they'll be appearing on the radio show and handling most of my cases. I will remain with the firm, but I won't be handling most of my cases on a day-to-day basis. I chose to join the Quattrini Law Firm because their practice is very similar to mine. They are excellent attorneys, and they handle personal injury cases like auto, truck, and motorcycle and industrial accidents.